And we're live, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Armbars and Suplexes. I am your host, Alec Miller. You can find me on Twitter right here. God damn it, every time. Alec Miller 0423 on Twitter, guys. Make sure you catch me there. And I'm joined as always with my main man, Jesus. See, you go the smarter way. You do it smarter. Right there, you can see where he is at the real Jesus. That's spelled Jeezus. How you doing, man?
I am doing good, man. It's a beautiful Tuesday.
Yes.
Beautiful Houston weather. So much stuff going on in the world of sports. I actually got to hear some stuff about the XFL, which kind of ties into wrestling through one way or another. Through Vince McMahon. So yeah, man, it's a lot of cool stuff going on right now in the world of sports, man. So I'm excited about it.
Yep. All right. Before we get started, I want to give a little shout out to everyone who's in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. What's up, Angel? What's up, Jeff? That's who I know for sure is in the chat. If I didn't mention your name, shout it out right there in the chat. Hit us up, and I will give you a little shout out. I'm really happy that everyone that is joining us. Before we get started, so I don't forget, like I did last week, make sure you go to our Patreon page. It's in the link down below. It's in the link down below where you can join our Patreon. There's 3 tiers at the moment. There's a $1, a $3, and a $5 tier. Go there, check it out, and hopefully you guys decide to donate. That'd be really fantastic.
I think we're up to 3 patrons so far. You
Whoa.
know, that's us. I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere. So
I'm happy about that. I didn't even realize that. I have not checked my email today. If you couldn't tell.
Yeah, but, there you go, man. So,
yeah, guys.
Slowly but surely, man, this is a plot to take over the world. You know, world domination starts off one patron at a time.
That's right.
And like we mentioned, there's different tiers on there. So one of the main tiers that we want to get to is to have a full show just answering your questions. And you can get that by getting to the $5 tier, and you can get to ask us questions.
Yes.
That we'll answer on the show.
But until we get to that point, if you join the $5 tier, basically you'll be the sole person of that tier. You can ask a question every week if you want to. That's how it will be at the moment.
So what you're saying, Alec, is they'll be the first $5 patron. That only happens, one time?
Only happens one time, guys. Only can be one first patron for each tier. So, but guys, make sure you guys do that. Like he said, it helps us build this channel. Help us build this podcast. It's not just a channel to us; it's also a podcast that we want to make sure we get it to you in the best quality as possible. Have other shows where you can have other people with us and stuff. So it'll be a good time for all. There'll be a good time had by all. So, anyways, before we jump into the main topic, which as you saw in the title is the UFC's back here in 2020. But before we jump into that, let's go ahead and just talk about what's been going on with us. How you been doing, Jesus?
I've been doing good, man. There's been some rough personal issues that I've had to deal with this past week, but it's part of life. So it happens. You just got to get through it. So I've kind of had my peripherals on sports. I kind of caught the football games on Sunday. Through like Twitter, back channels, text messages, my buddies texting me and whatnot. I did catch all the fights for the most part on Saturday. That was a big deal. But other than that, man, I'm just trying to stay lay low, and we've been catching up on some TV shows and whatnot. We're watching The Outsider, which I told you, I don't know if I mentioned to you, was really good on HBO, the Stephen King adaptation.
Yes.
So it's really good. It's really good quality stuff from HBO as usual. So I don't know, man. That's just basically low key and trying to get back in the swing of things. How about you, man?
I've been good, man. This week is kind of good. I'm just kind of trying to get through this week because I have Royal Rumble on Sunday, which I'm super excited about.
It's a big deal, man.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. I was going to try and go to NXT, but I got to get ready for a wedding that's going to happen, or I got to get ready for a bachelor party. It's going to happen not this weekend, but next weekend. So I got to get all those. Got to go get like clothes and stuff.
That sounded a lot better than a wedding, man. When you said bachelor party.
Sorry, bachelor party. It's a bachelor party. It's going to be fun. Hopefully, it's going to be fun. So I know it's going to be a lot of money being spent, but it's going to be all in good fun with my friends from when I was a kid, man. His mom is my mom's best friend. We basically grew up together. So he's getting married on the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. That Saturday.
February 7th.
Friday, sorry. That Friday after next Friday.
So Super Bowl weekend.
The Friday after.
Okay, so they'll know basically who won by that point.
Yeah, they'll know which
they can act accordingly.
Yeah, which we'll get to that in a little bit. We'll jump into some predictions, Super Bowl predictions. But yeah, just trying to get through this week so I can get to Royal Rumble, man. I'm excited. Took that Monday off so I can recover.
Hey, that's how you got to do it, man. You got to prepare ahead of time, man. Just like everybody takes off the day after Super Bowl because they know how crazy it gets. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's what I'm planning to do. But I'm excited, man. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into some sports news, local sports news, national sports news. We do have the Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks, but we found out who is going, and I actually predicted one of these teams. I had picked Ravens 49ers. I got the 49ers right, but I did not get the Ravens. But the Chiefs definitely earned their spot in the Super Bowl, and I think this is going to be one of the more fun Super Bowls that we watch.
It's interesting. It's a tale as old as time for football, offense versus defense, and going up against each other.
Yeah.
In a neutral field. I'm excited about it. I guess it would have only been more excited if Baltimore played the Chiefs in the championship game to get to this point, because at that point you would have had the three best teams pretty much all season kind of play each other one way or another. You know what I mean?
Technically, we had all the four because the 1 and 2 seeds in the NFC played each other.
Yeah. So, with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but it was bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't look like that team, which Baltimore didn't look like that team. But Tennessee was kind of bulldozing at that point, and it looked like the Chiefs were going to get bulldozed too for a minute there.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And but Baltimore, I kind of give him more of a pass because Lamar Jackson is so young and so early into his career. I can't give Aaron Rodgers a pass, man. I don't know. There's just a lot of bad looks. I don't know if you want to get into it, but that fumble and him just looking at it, kind of.
I will say with at least on the Lamar Jackson side, if Lamar Jackson has another year like this in the playoffs next year, they will be starting to talk about him. Even though he's so young, he will be starting to be brought up as, is he only a regular season quarterback? It's just the narrative that'll be passed around. I don't necessarily agree with it. I just think that he needs to just work on his passing, and he's working on it.
You're chopping up, dude.
Am I chopping up? Oh no. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, you're still you're lagging. It's now we're both lagging. I got 4 bars.
I did too.
I don't know what's going on. It could be StreamYard, dude.
It might be StreamYard because it looks fine. Like, I'm looking at the video right here. You're not, and on my side you're not lagging. So
dude, you sound like a machine, bro.
What in the world?
I don't know. Hey, you guys in the chat, does Alex sound like a machine, or does he sound normal, or is it just me?
Yeah, how's the stream holding up, guys? Is it fine? How's it going? Because I got nothing's on my side. You sound good. You're not lagging at all. I haven't had any choppiness.
Dude, but I hear choppiness from you. I hear you a machine from you, and it's just weird.
Right.
It's just weird.
Now you're gonna see me leave the chat and try this again. 1 second.
There you go. Hold on. There you go.
Oh, is it good?
Now it's good.
All right. I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything.
It's Zen. It's Zen. You weren't in Zen earlier.
Okay. I don't know what happened, guys. We were working with typical regular laptop mics and stuff. At least I am. So sorry about that. That's why you gotta subscribe to the Patreon. Become a Patreon member, and you can help us get better mics and all that.
Upgrade our systems.
Yeah, help me get better internet. Maybe, I don't know. And Jeff says seems okay, looks good, sounds good. So that's all I need right there.
Good to go.
Yeah. So and Jeff, you can actually chime in chat as well. I personally don't believe that sentiment of if he doesn't play well in the playoffs next year, he will be seen as that. But you know how sports is. It's all about the narrative, and that'll be the narrative that'll be painted for that young man in Lamar Jackson.
Oh man, I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson next year, man. If he goes in the playoffs and he lays an egg again, the dude got 10 years ahead of him that he's gonna be dominating, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's the evolution of what the quarterbacks become. Look at what Mahomes did this past week. First against us in the playoffs, and then this past week did it with his legs. And he's not even known for being a running quarterback.
I mean, he has a capability. Yeah, he has the capability. Would you put Lamar Jackson's skill set the same as Patrick Mahomes? Because I don't know, man. I feel like Patrick Mahomes' skill set is just it's an outlier. I mean, he looks like he's playing in the backyard out there, man. Like
Yeah.
he's just and the thing is, like, things open up for him, and it's like that would not have opened up for the other 31 quarterbacks in the NFL, no matter what. Like I'm just remembering that play against the Texans when they had him. Like it was probably I think it was second and goal at the 5 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back and then he rolled out to the left, and the basically the one where his pinky toe was on the line of scrimmage and he passed it. Like no other quarterback. I'm talking about, like, even Aaron Rodgers doesn't do that. Russell Wilson probably doesn't do that. Russell Wilson probably tucks it. Aaron Rodgers probably tries to throw it a little bit earlier to avoid contact even earlier. I just don't know, like, if Lamar Jackson and him have the same skill set. Like, as far as the creativity, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think no one has the skill set of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now. There's nobody better than him right now. His talent in terms of throwing the football, like you said, he makes it look like it's like he's just tossing the ball outside in the backyard. Like he doesn't even look like he's trying out there sometimes. And the throws that he makes are absolutely ridiculous. You have the no-look passes. You have the across-the-body passes that everyone always says you're not supposed to throw across the body, and
he does it all the time. He does it all the time.
And I was one of those guys that I think last year when he was first coming up and he was doing that, I was like, he's gonna get caught, and he has not got caught yet. He might have got caught every now and then, but he'll go right back to it. He doesn't have any fear in terms of throwing it across his body. I thought that he had to get hit or come back from behind. I wanted to see how he did last year. And I think it was that game against Denver where he that was a drag out game. I think it was a Monday Night Football game, and he ended up coming back. And I was like, all right, that's my case. He's probably the best quarterback in the league right now. And now he's gonna be playing in the Super Bowl. He probably should have been there last year if it wasn't for Frank. What was it? D4 jumping off sides.
Jumping off sides, yeah.
And they almost did the exact same thing this past week against Tennessee, jumping off sides a couple times.
So. The northern suburbs, those mean streets of the northern suburbs.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't. So yeah, I think this Super Bowl is the classic immovable, unstoppable force meeting the immovable object, unstoppable force being the Chiefs offense, and then that defense over there in San Francisco being the immovable object. And I've always gone defense over offense in terms of championships. I'm going to keep that going. I don't think that I think that if Kansas City falls behind like they've been doing these past couple weeks, I don't think that this defense is the kind of defense that they can do what they've been doing. The Texans defense, as we all know, the secondary is always questionable. Titans defense is a little bit better, but they're not quite there. They just couldn't seem to get to him. And I agree with Jeff. This is just going to be a great game. I'm super excited. This is probably the Super Bowl I've been most excited for since that. I would think the last one I was really excited for was the Broncos and Seahawks, and look how that turned out.
That was a dud. That was a freaking
dud. I was super excited about that Super Bowl, and it was a big disappointment.
I agree, man. A couple of things though too, like that I've been looking at is, I mean, the trifecta of Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes, and those guys, and looking at the situations that they got drafted into, and where they're at, and kind of where the trajectory is. Deshaun Watson, is looked at as a good quarterback. Exactly. Like he's plateauing, and we've seen, especially this season, some regression in some games, like where he's just invisible as a quarterback, which is crazy because he sees the ball, he touches the ball every play on offense.
The game against Carolina, the game against Baltimore,
and Denver. It's just, and it's situations. Look at Lamar Jackson with Gary Kubiak and what's his name, Harbaugh, and then look at Mahomes with Andy Reid. And can you imagine if they had put a Deshaun Watson in one of those situations, or if we had
Mahomes?
Somebody? No, I'm saying like from a coach perspective.
Oh, okay.
We had a coach that was a real quarterback whisperer and not a perceived quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
And if you can tell by my, I don't know, my monotone voice right now, because I'm a little monotone, but I just have such disdain for Bill O'Brien right now, man. It's just like, look what we could have. Because I would say that, yes, Mahomes has the outlier skill set, but
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson's not that far behind. Deshaun Watson's not that far behind, and we're not getting to see, I would say, what, 15% or 20% or maybe 50% of what those guys are putting out as far as um, with their teams and what they're doing for their offense versus what Deshaun Watson does and the inconsistency he has. And some of it's on him too. I'm not,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
definitely.
but at the same time, it's, the team that he has around him, the coaching staff, the leadership, and it all goes back to Bill O'Brien, because I mean, like, some guy said, he's like collecting infinity stones over there on Kirby Drive, because they keep giving him more and more power, and we're not gonna get anything to show for it besides another, maybe divisional, uh maybe division championship, maybe another wild card win, maybe, if that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in every interview that Bill O'Brien says, he always mentions that division championship. That division championship is very important to him,
Yeah.
and not to mention, I mean, take away the fact that all three of our fellow division members have in the last decade have been to a conference championship game, and we have yet to do that. So
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, like, Tennessee didn't win the division, right?
no, we
And
went
where
to
did
the
they
conference
get to?
championship. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like all three teams that are in our division have been to conference championships, and we've won the division the majority of the times this past decade, and have yet to go to a conference championship game. That's just sad, and unfortunately, I know what it feels like now to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, because this has to be what it felt like when they had Jason Garrett. Like that's all I can think. But the only difference was Jerry Jones is the one pulling the strings over there. Our coach is the one literally pulling the strings in all facets, even firing what our head contract negotiator this past week. Like
Nice. I love it.
it's ridiculous, man. Like how do you do that? I was happy about firing Rack, and then all you did was just promote someone inside. Like it doesn't make
Man,
sense.
but the thing is, dude, Rack has been looked at as a scapegoat. But dude, he had no pieces out there, man. I mean, the he didn't have the right guys for pass rush. He didn't have a good secondary, and who got rid of his pass rush? Who got rid of Clowney?
Yeah, it's
Bill,
just
Bill O'Brien, and we got pennies for him, pennies on the dollar for him. Like, it's a sad situation, man. It's a sad time to be a Texans fan whenever you get to see guys like Patrick Mahomes go out there and shine, and do cool things.
mhm.
And we get, I mean, Deshaun gets to do that, but we get to see it in the regular season and maybe one playoff game, and that's it.
Yeah,
And it's just, I would trade all those division championships for a freaking, I
Super Bowl
mean,
appearance.
just an appearance, man. Like, I
Just an
remember,
appearance.
I remember Barry Bonds saying, when he got to the World Series and he lost, and they interviewed him at the end, because I think it was towards the end of his career, and he's like, "Man, that's where I messed up. I kept saying, just let me get to the World Series, but I never said let me win the World Series."
Yeah, just want to get there.
So I just, at this point, just let us get there, and we'll figure out the rest when we're there.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead. No more Texans talk. No more. It's too depressing. It's too depressing. Let's get into what we've really here for, and that is the return of the UFC here in 2020. It felt like it took forever since that last was it Edgar Korean Zombie fight. We finally got some UFC, and what better way, I guess, in Dana's eyes, than to open it with Connor's return to the octagon, and not a very impressive card when you look at it. I think there were some decent fights on there. They were fine. A lot of finishes. There were a lot of decisions early, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, boom, we got finish after finish after finish. Look, I think the only card I mean, the only fight on the main card that went to a decision was Holm versus Pennington, and we'll get into
Yeah.
how Pennington felt about that when we get to that fight.
Man, that fight too. I mean, there was so much going on Saturday, which was, like you mentioned, the first card for the UFC and to open up this year. Like, there's also a lot of controversy with little things that happen here and there with
Mhm.
post fight interviews and just
I want to talk about that.
it's just different stuff that happened. It's like, man, this is how you're starting the year. All right, I see you.
All right.
Let's go.
I think this next week's gonna be a lot better, and we'll get into that later in the show as well.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm just excited. I love MMA. Again, whenever we're in a 5 or 6 week stint, I start like saying, "Oh man, I'm sick of it," But then when I get like 1 week without it, I'm like, "Man, where's my fix at, man? Because I need some MMA." But it's just good to see it back. And I mean, in fairness, in my opinion, it was a subpar card. But I feel the Conor fight, and you know how I feel about Conor. I don't like Conor. I don't like
same
his off the field stuff. But he over delivered, and that's kind of hard for Conor to do, is to over deliver, and he over delivered on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. Definitely impressive. I mean, I can't take anything away from him. He literally in a sport that he's done a lot of firsts. He did another first, pulled off another first on Saturday, and it's hard not to talk about him. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to keep talking about him.
Well, I just got some news too that we're gonna have to get into with Conor, and I really want to kind of break it down because this is absolutely crazy, man.
I think Conor's gonna be a big topic when we get to the main event.
All right,
for sure. But all right, let's go ahead and jump on into that. It's real short. We don't really need to say much about it. The early prelim card, which had Sabina Mato taking on JJ Aldrich. For some reason, I don't have a division here. I don't know why. I'm trying to see what happened. For some reason, I don't have a division here, but
I got it for you. It's a women's flyweight, 125.
Okay, 125 women's flyweight division. Sabina Mazo taking on JJ Aldrich. Sabina Mazo pulling out the win in a decision. This is a close fight, I think. First round completely belonged to JJ. Second round picked up, but I think in my mind I still ruled a little bit in favor of JJ Aldrich. But that third round was definitely Maso, so I understand why it was a split decision, because I believe it was a split decision. So I see why it was a split decision. I went the other way. I had JJ. How did you have it scored?
I didn't watch these fights, man. Remember,
you didn't watch these? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't start watching these fights till Sadiq Youssef and Andre Fili. So I did see which we'll get into it whenever we see it. I saw the Drew Dober and mini Kevin Gastelum fight, so we can talk about that. But I didn't really get a chance to watch this fight. I definitely want to go back and watch the fights, because it's only actually it's only 2 fights that I didn't watch, because I actually saw the ending of Elliott and Askarov. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's only these 2 fights. So you want to tell me about them? You mentioned that.
Yeah, just real quick. It's nothing to write home about. Sabina Mato looked good when she was in the clinch. She really should have stayed in the clinch. Multiple times she landed nasty knees to Aldrich, and every time Sabina had Aldrich in the clinch, Aldrich had no answer for it. I don't know why Maso should have went. She probably should have went there a few more times in the second round to absolutely shore up the win with me. But I definitely see why it was a split decision and why it went Maso's way. So congrats to her. I would like to see her maybe get a little bit more aggressive in that first round whenever she fights next. But it was a decent fight. It was actually something that if you do go back and watch it, it was a good fight.
She's 8-1 now, so she's still a prospect on the rise, coming off a good win.
Yeah, she looked good. And JJ Aldrich is the woman who had Pat Barry in her corner, and he's a good coach. Every time he was telling her to do something, she would do it, and it would help. But problem is, every time Maso got her in that clinch, man, there was just nothing she could do about it.
Yeah, so whenever a fighter finds a weakness, they're gonna exploit it until you figure out how to block it.
And that's what Maso did. So good win on her. We'll see what she does in the upcoming weeks. Next up, we have debuting Alexa Kammer taking on Justin Ledet. I actually, when I was watching this fight, I guess because everything Kammer didn't necessarily hurt Ledet. He was doing a lot more work than Ledet, but nothing seemed to land. Whereas I saw Ledet kind of make Kammer think about going in again in terms of his power. So I actually think I was leaning towards Ledet, but I could be wrong. But Cameron gets the win here in his UFC debut. He's from the Contender Series this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Had a flying knee that looked really nice, but he just could. I think he got too excited, was throwing haymakers in the very beginning of the fight, and he started to get really tired. Uh, and I think that's the problem, is because a lot of his fights that he's had have been ended by knockout. So I think he was just looking for that knockout instead of fighting smart and trying to figure out Ledet. He was just looking for that knockout, didn't find it, got tired, and just kind of found his way to the end of the fight. Ledet was able to put him away, so
Did
he ended up pulling up the win.
did Ledet look tentative? Because I think some of the losses that he had, he's kind of been tentative and waiting for the his opponent to kind of lead the dance. Or was he coming forward and aggressive?
I actually do think that he was a little tentative. Now that you mention it, like I couldn't come. I wasn't thinking of the word when I was thinking about it. But yeah, like he wasn't. He clearly had the power advantage. He could clearly walk through Camir's power, because a couple times even when he did land, he just didn't seem to phase Ledet. But he just wasn't being aggressive enough to where, like, if you seem to have that big of an advantage on your opponent, you would think that he would want to go forward. But it just seemed like he was just kind of cool with sitting on the outside.
Yeah, he hasn't fixed it yet, man. From what you're telling me, I'll go back and watch it. But he's usually in his losses, he's been tentative, and he wants a counter punch. But there's certain times, like especially we're saying right now, he walked through his power, that he needs to be coming forward and showcasing his power. And he's in, and I guess they're starting to find out that Justin Ledet is not that guy.
Yeah, I can see it, man. So Cameron gets the win. Means that he's probably going to be getting a fight coming up soon, because you know how Dana likes to get these Contender Series guys. If they get a win, he likes to see them keep fighting. So we'll see if Cameron gets a win. He's young, man. He was one of the younger prospects that got. I think he's 23.
He's undefeated, man.
He's undefeated, 23 years old. And Dana doesn't give contracts in Contender Series if you're a certain age, unless you're super impressive. So he's one of the few that got it. So we'll see. I think that Dana likes those young guys who can show that they can win. And it was a drag out fight. Went 3 rounds. He didn't get gassed out to the point where he got beat. So it's gonna be see where he goes next.
Yep, I'm excited to see it.
All right, let's get to the next fight that you saw. Oh, and this was a nasty knockout. Drew Dober, Nasrat Haqparast, but I think I'm gonna go with what you said. Kelvin Gastelum.
Mini Kelvin Gastelum, man.
This dude exactly like him.
Exactly like him, dude. Basically, exactly like him.
I was watching. I guess I didn't, because you can't really see it from this picture that's here on UFC.com. But in motion, it's like a tiny. It's literally like a tiny Kelvin Gastelum.
And he's left-handed too, if I'm not mistaken. Just like Gastelum.
So it's the clone. They're like, Kelvin, he lost. He lost. Didn't get the middleweight championship. Let's create a tiny one.
He's not gonna get a lightweight championship either after this fight.
No, not after this. Drew Dober with a nasty knockout, man.
So going into this fight, I had Haqparast. He's a rising star. He plays around with the Kevin Gastelum stuff too. I had him winning. I thought he was gonna bulldoze Drew Dober. I know Drew Dober's not a scrub. I never thought he was a scrub. I just thought Haqparast was just a better overall fighter. But before the fight, I was seeing some posts about Mini Kelvin Gastelum, and he looked shredded, dude. Like, he looked the most shredded he's ever been in his UFC fight career. I mean, he was showing his back, and his back had like these weird muscles around his spine that you only get when you're like
shredded,
super shredded, dude. And so something started to creep in my mind, like, this guy's overtraining, overtraining. And he's known for having a freaking chin, dude. He's known for, and Drew Dober's not known for having ridiculous power like that. If you look at the punch that got him, it was like a weird downward strike almost. I don't know. It was weird.
Just hit him on the button. That's all. Hit him on the button, knocked him down. He followed up, and Haqparast could not recover, and that was it.
So I'm chalking that one up in my mind until I see differently to overtraining, and then Drew Dober also just being a tough fighter. He goes out there to win.
Do you want to hear the number of total strikes that were thrown in this fight?
It was like
on
10.
both sides. Both
10,
sides.
10 total.
Nope. It was a little more. Thrown, not landed.
Okay.
Thrown was 37.
Wow. In 1 minute though, that's
That's a lot, but
yeah.
26 were thrown. 26 were thrown by Dober. Landed 13 of them, so about 50%.
And
And
like a lot of those were when he was already almost
yeah,
down.
probably. And then hack pressed was 7. Landed 7 of 11 with 64%. So a
Yeah.
little bit more percent, but like you said, the amount of the total strikes and significant strikes is exactly the same. So you have to think that the one that landed was maybe the big punch,
Yeah, it
and
was
then
the
it was
first
just
one.
bunch landed, like just bunch that fell. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, good on Drew Dober. Like you said, maybe it's just this is just put it up to overtraining, and maybe we'll see what Hack Press has coming up next.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys are gonna get. I mean, I don't think Hack Press loses a lot from this. He's still on the rise. Drew Dober gets a little bit more life and a little bit more juice, and maybe we'll see him against a maybe a little bit tougher opponent, more seasoned opponent instead of a prospect, and then we'll see where he goes from there.
Yeah, and I mean, you can always chalk up when someone gets knocked out and doesn't know, that's known for having a chin. You can just chalk it up to they probably just got caught. It just happens.
I mean, there's so much like he got caught overtraining, and then also it was so early in the fight he could have still been cold,
Yeah,
and
true.
It wasn't ready to take it. So
Didn't catch his rhythm yet.
yeah.
All right, let's go ahead. Actually, I think I caught the very end of this fight. I
Mhm.
don't think I really watched a lot of it, and then I think I left. That's when I left to go to the bar.
So did you see the I guess semi controversial thing that happened in this fight?
Nuh-uh. What was it?
So Tim Elliott, first of all, Tim Elliott is a character. He's a goofball, super cocky, weird guy, and he was on one of the Ultimate Fighters. He's good. He's a good fighter. He has a lot of wrestling, but he also what's the word? What's the word that I'm looking for? It's like anti-clutch. Like when he needs to win a fight, he ends up screwing it up and losing by a guillotine for a guy that's super seasoned.
Choked?
Yeah, he's a kind of like a choker almost, I guess.
Okay.
So in this fight was really close. I guess for the first round, the second round, Ashcroft started taking over. Third round was kind of close, but in the third round, he started getting cocky. Tim Elliott started getting cocky, and he kind of showboated a little bit. And Ashcroft caught him while he was showboating, and Elliott did one of those things where they just like get stiff and they're about to, they fall down. But before he fell down, he woke up and he got back into the fight. So it just looked funny, dude. And he basically just survived until like the last 20 seconds. I think it was the last 20, 30 seconds of the fight. He just survived. But it just looked funny, dude, because he did one of those things where he just kind of like stiffens up after he got hit. It was just funny, dude. And I was like, that's what he gets for being a cocky asshole.
Yeah, Askarov gets the win here. Flyweight bout. So flyweight. We kind of already know. Oh, it's kind of wide open actually. We got Benavidez taking on Figueiredo pretty soon to get a new champion, not an interim, but an actual new champion, because no double champions ever defended both belts, and that seems.
Well, I don't know, man.
We'll see with Nunes.
Triple C's talking about going up to 145 and being quadruple C.
But, once again, you haven't even defended this belt. And you're going to defend it to a guy who has not won in this division yet. Granted, he probably should have won.
He should have won that fight.
He should have won that fight, but he's still getting a fight. He's still getting a fight with someone who lost his first fight in that division. And it's a bad precedent. I'm just saying precedent.
Listen. 2019 was new champs, UFC. 2020 is losers getting championship bouts. That's Jose Aldo's getting it. Yoel Romero's getting it. Let's just get all the losers, line them up for the champions, and let's do this thing in 2020.
You want me to call my next loser is going to get a championship fight?
Who?
Macy Barber. We'll get to that in a little bit. All right. Next up, we have Andre Touchy-Feely taking on Sadiq Youssef in the featherweight bout.
Best nickname in the game.
You got to make a decision because you always say Violent Bob Ross is one of the best.
Which one?
Violent Bob Ross. You always said that's the best. I think Touchy-Feely's a little better.
Dude, Violent Bob Ross. That makes absolutely no sense, dude. And it's like a legit one. Violent Bob Ross.
It's really good. But
he's violent.
when I told my girlfriend what this man's name was, she thought that was hilarious. I told her Violent Bob Ross, and she was just like, okay. But I told her,
Well, it's because you can't like you can't. Okay, we gotta do something about this, man, because we're gonna do a Sweet 16, but for best
nicknames.
nicknames.
Yes, I'm cool with that.
We're gonna do, because the thing about Violent Bob Ross is, yes, on paper, Violent Bob Ross, okay, that's funny. But if you look at the man, especially in
his last fight, he was Violent Bob Ross.
Yeah, but also he looks like a Bob Ross clone, man. I mean, he's violent, so it's like goes together, and so that's the creative side of Violent Bob Ross. On Touchy Feely, he's playing with his last name. You know what I mean? And that's good too. That's creative too. You know, Touchy Feely. So I don't know, man. We're gonna. I mean, they're probably on opposite sides of the bracket. They're 1 seeds.
Probably. Oh, you're in their 1 seeds? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As long as we put Crochet King on there.
He'll be on there. He's gonna be a dark horse, I'm sure.
That's amazing. I still love that nickname. All right. So tell me about this fight, because this one I did miss.
So this fight was actually a good fight, man. It was going back and forth. It was super tight. It's basically, did you like volume or do you like power? Because Sadiq Youssef has power in spades. And I don't know. I think at the end of the fight, I had it for Youssef. I could see it going to Feely. Feely was upset. The crowd was booing as well. So maybe the crowd had it for Andre Feely. But it was close, man. I mean, I put it on my list to go back and watch it without the sound, just to go based on them. So that's how close it was, you know.
Okay.
And Sadiq Youssef had a great post-fight interview with Joe Rogan. I don't think he's ever been interviewed by Joe Rogan.
Really?
Yeah, which is very interesting. So he wanted to finally meet Joe Rogan, I think, and he talked about that. And then he did another cool thing, which was he talked in his native language and kind of shouted out, I think, to his team or something, which was pretty cool.
Just real quick, I think we got another nickname that's going to be thrown into the tournament.
Nice.
Jeff Mashed Potatoes McElroy.
He has to do the playing game on that. I mean, he's gonna have to do the play-in.
Yeah. You get the first four in. First four in, first four out.
There you go.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into it. But so basically, I got to go back and watch this fight, and I'll see how I score it.
All right.
Let's get to this one, man. I think there's gonna be a lot of things to be said about this fight. So we have in the flyweight division, the featured bout on the prelims card was not supposed to be the featured bout on the prelim card, but unfortunately, someone did have to drop out. I forgot who. If I'm not,
was it Grasso? Grasso and
yeah, there you go, Grasso and Gadella. Well, they had to move one fight into the main card to make room for this fight. I mean, to make up for the fact that Gadella and Grasso was taken off the card, which we can talk about that too.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too,
because that's not good. But you know, there was a change that was made that I think happens not very often in terms of people missing weight. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Roxanne Modafferi taking on Macy Barber. The future the future Macy Barber versus the Happy Warrior. I like that. That one might go on my list. Because it literally, you look at the picture of her and you're just like, yeah,
man, she's out there, man. She's always been weird, you know. Yeah. She used to come out in full Dragon Ball getup with the Super Saiyan hair.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah. So Macy Barber, a lot to be said about her. Seems like people seem to like her. They started out liking her. The last fight didn't really like her, and now this fight, it's kind of mixed, I guess. Like I think they kind of turned on her at the end. There's a lot of love for her going around. I've been seeing, man, like, you know, saying like, you know, good on her, like she's a tough, she's a warrior, and it's kind of hard for me to sit back and be like, I can't show me a fighter that won't fight through a torn ACL. Yeah, no, I mean, from a fighting standpoint, she's always had the goods, man. You know that. Yeah, definitely. It's not about what she does in the octagon; it's what she does outside of the octagon or immediately after a fight. All right, so let's talk about the fight first. So the fight first. So it's confirmed now. She tore her ACL in the first round when she was ducking a jab by Modafferi.
and it was a non-contact thing. It was just like one of those things where she just stepped back, and her leg gave out, and she just tumbled. And from then on, she was just playing to survive, honestly, because she couldn't move. It set up Modafferi perfectly because Modafferi wanted to grapple and take her down, and she did for the entirety of the fight, which was very smart on her part because she obviously has a advantage. But I don't know if she would have had that much of an advantage if Barbara was at full strength. But she had an advantage either way, and she took advantage of it, and she won the fight. I mean, she dominated the fight because of it. I don't know how the fight would have gone otherwise. I mean, Modafferi has a lot of experience, man, and she's beat a lot of people who she's not supposed to beat on paper, just with her experience, you know. So maybe you know, even 100% Macy Barber at this point in her career, being so green, loses this fight anyways, you know. And but maybe she doesn't because she wasn't, you know, full strength or what have you.
Yeah.
The fact that she fought with that, and I don't know, man, it was weird too with the doctor coming out and touching her knee and saying, yeah, you got a partial tear of your ACL, but you're good. I mean, how can you tell that? You know, that's ridiculous. Excuse me, it was ridiculous. But I don't know, man. I mean, she's gritty, she's tough, she's still young, she's gonna learn from this. Modafferi, on the other hand, you know, and the thing about Modafferi that I like too, in her post-fight interview is she's so self-aware. She's like, I'm trying to prove that I'm not a journeyman, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what she's trying to do. And the reason why is because when she does get to the top, she always falters, you know. But and she's another one of those fighters that I've told you before that they like maximize their skill set, because she's not the most athletic, she's not the most hardest hitter, you know, she's not the fastest, you know.
Yep.
But she's a hard worker and she has a high fight IQ, you know. And she's always, and she's also like I don't know how to explain it, like I guess she fights the right way. Like, I think somebody asked her, you know, whenever she found out that her leg was injured, did you want to kick her leg or something like that? And she said, the thought never crossed my mind. You know, which I mean, it could be said good and bad, you know, like good for her for not
jumping on the injury.
Yeah, but then
making it worse.
Yeah, also like John Jones does it, and he's done it before, and like, oh man, he's an animal, he's going for the kill, you know, like he doesn't care. So it's kind of both ways, but for me, I guess because it's Modafferi, I'm like, oh man, that's 100% the type of person and fighter she is, you know?
Yeah, like I kind of believe her when she does say like it didn't cross my mind, not because she was thinking like, oh, I don't want to injure her, probably just because she was thinking that wasn't my game plan to begin with.
Yeah, let me just
take her leg out, like take her to the ground. It obviously worked. Beat her up on the ground bad. You know, she had her all bloodied up. Like you said, I don't know if this fight does go any differently. Maybe it does. If Macy doesn't get hurt, but unfortunately she did get hurt. She's going to be out for at least, I think they're saying 9 months.
9 months, man. Like it's a complete tear of her ACL, dude. So
yeah, so she's going to be gone for a while. Not that most of that's recovery, and then to get back into fighting shape, you know, it's going to take a little bit. But so maybe this is the last we see of her in 2019. Don't get me wrong, sure. I do want to see more Macy Barber, but let's jump into this thing that happened at the end, man. This backhanded compliment that she threw out there. It's a backhanded compliment, basically saying that she's not, and I appreciate her saying she's not, like, you know, I don't regret my performance. You know, you can be proud of your performance in a loss. That's okay. Sometimes you just lose. But the fact to say that your performance helped Roxanne shine is absolutely ridiculous. And then to make it sound like this is that John Jones stuff. To make it sound like you're giving a compliment. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well,
tell me I'm wrong.
No, man. I mean, no, I'm the same way. Like first of all, I mean, the UFC must really love Macy Barber, man, because she's let her do that. Yeah, because I mean, if you look at it, it's super rare when a loser
is allowed on the mic.
You know, and she was allowed. It's super rare, dude. I'm telling you, like it rarely happens. It's usually.
How many times have we seen like winners want to say like one last thing, and Joe Rogan's like, no, like nope, we gotta go.
Yoink. Yeah. He takes it away.
That's to the winner. Like, like we've seen him not even go inside the octagon for winners.
Yeah, and
And
Joe Rogan only likes to do it like to championship fights or to fighters
yeah,
he likes. Like DC,
like
every
yeah,
time
exactly.
DC
Cormier.
lost, yeah, he'll let him talk, and that's probably because he's also shared the booth with him. The play by play.
Yeah,
But
like people he has a connection with.
Macy Barber, dude, 21-year-old Macy Barber, who I don't know, and that's another part of it too. Like the way she talked, that's an experience to me.
Yeah,
The way she did those backhanded compliments. I'm sure she probably thought, better in her head, like thought it was a good thing that she was saying, like, oh, this is her time to shine. But the way she said it, it was bad. It's a bad look, man. And that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people, the goodwill that she got by being tough and grinding it out on a torn ACL, she basically erased all that with her backhanded compliments and just
yeah,
a bad overall interview, which goes on to continue the whole outside the octagon thing that she's been doing, trying to get fights and get bigger fights. And it's just not a good look, man. And now you lost. You got a torn ACL. You're on the shelf for at least 9 months. So it's just she's when she comes back, she's gonna have a lot to work on to get back in the good graces of fight fans.
yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, it's just classless. It kind of like I know you. Maybe she thought she might have not be the John Jones thing where John Jones, we know he's not really like that. He knows that he's not like that, and he just tries to like seem he's fake. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily think Macy's fake. Maybe like you said,
No.
maybe it is just inexperience. Maybe she did think what she was saying was it was a compliment, was a nice thing. It
Yeah. So
wasn't. It was not good.
so hold on real quick. So Angel, we are gonna talk about movies a little bit later.
Yeah, bring it up at
So
the end, brother.
yeah, we definitely gotta talk about it. So, but back to what you were saying, but in fairness, John Jones started this way too, man. John Jones started exactly the same way when he was, dude. He's the youngest, or the second youngest. No, I think he's the youngest light heavyweight champion because Vitor was at heavyweight when he was
Mhm.
champion. But I think he's the youngest light heavyweight champion, also at the age of 21, I believe. And he did the same things. He did a lot of dumb things on the mic, where they were backhanded compliments, and or just flat out, like, I don't know, just contempt, or I don't know how to call it, where it's not I guess cockiness, but maybe rashness, I guess, too. And
Yeah.
it rubbed people the wrong way. Like one of the things that he talked about was that rubbed people the wrong way was his deal with Rashad Evans, because they were stablemates, they were teammates.
Hmm.
And he kind of said, like he contradicted himself, I think, in that interview. I gotta go back and look at it, but he said something like, "We're teammates and this and that and this and that, so nothing's supposed to get between us." And then he said something like, "But it's the championship, and that's what I've always dreamed for. So that's number one," or something like that. So when he kind of did that, people were like, "All right, we see you. Like you trying to say that it's all about teammates, but except when it's something that you really want, and it's not about teammates, or something
Yeah.
like that."
So,
You know.
man, I hope this isn't Macy's turn to the dark side. Uh, there are a lot of people. I saw a lot of people bringing up would would Macy have won that if this was the fight against PVZ? Would she have won this fight? I don't
Well,
know. I don't know because who knows if that fight in that fight if she doesn't tear her ACL, if
that's
she
true
doesn't,
too. I mean, and the way it looked, I mean, ACLs just sometimes it's
they
time.
just they just go.
Yeah, well, I mean, they go because of stress. So I'm sure she would have been stressed the same way. She would have stressed that tendon the same way.
Yeah,
But the Paige Van Zandt fight is more tailor made for her because it's a stand up fight
yeah,
versus Modafferi taking her down.
yeah. Because Paige, and I'm pretty sure Paige was to hurt her.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe it would have played to her strengths. But then again, backing up wouldn't have been fun. Probably being on the ground helped a little bit, helped Macy a little bit in terms
It
of
did. I
not
think
hurting her leg.
I think it helped her go to the end of the fight.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and Jeff. We don't know why she's allowed on the mic. It's probably because people like. I think Dana likes her a lot, and she's literally named the Future. That's her nickname, and she's also hanging with Ben Askren. Ben Askren's got a little pull over there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you look at it, dude, in fairness, she's 21 years old and she's a well-rounded uh women's MMA fighter, so she's gonna
Mhm.
get pushed a lot.
Yeah, she's got potential. She's got so much potential. She's got all the potential in the world to be the top of this division. She really does. So she just has to not piss anybody off along the way.
That's kind of hard for her to do at this point.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's get into this main card, man. So right off the bat, Anthony Showtime Pettis, lightweight bout, taking on Diego Ferreira, and literally we were wondering why is he taking this fight, and
this is the worst fight he could take.
And now we really have to wonder why he took this fight because
man,
got dominated, man. Like
I know this hurt your heart, man. I know, like little tear in your heart was like, man.
I know, man. But as soon as this fight started, like I don't know, he just did not look like he was prepared for this man at all.
He was scared of him. He was that's fear. I'm sorry, dude. Like I've watched enough of this stuff. That's fear. That guy did not. Pettis did not want anything to do with Ferreira. It's Ferreira, right? Yeah, Ferreira on the ground, dude. Not want anything to do with him on the ground, dude. And the thing about it is, I really feel that Pettis struggles a lot with confidence.
Yeah,
because Pettis is a very, very underrated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in MMA. He's not a competition guy. He's not a gi guy, and this guy Ferreira is a gi guy. So, and he's like a top level guy, but I guess he felt his jiu-jitsu was not on par, not close enough to be able to, hold him off. So he didn't want it. So he changed his whole stance. He was just trying to take big shots. It was bad, dude. I don't know. Like that's probably one of the worst fights that I've seen Pettis in, dude. And it's not good, dude, because it's later on in his career, you know.
Yeah.
And he struggled, dude. And this guy, the guy that beat him, Ferrero, he's 35 years old, man. Like, he's 35 years old. So where does he go from here? You know, like this guy, is he gonna be a champion? You know what I'm saying? Like,
guys, I'll be right back. Keep going, Jesus. Keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. So I don't know, man. Anthony Pettis has a lot to go back to. He's already struggled with confidence in the past when he loses. This is a big loss for him, in my opinion. It just sets him back so much, man. Like, let me see, his last couple fights, he lost to he just got let me see. He beat Stephen Thompson last year by knockout, and then after that he fought Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz won a decision, and he looked really bad in that fight too. So he just depends on who he fights. He's gonna have to be set up with guys that are more to his matchup style, like more striking versus wrestlers or even grapplers at this point. And even then, the strikers are going to give him, a tough test. But I mean, he has losses to Tony Ferguson. He has losses to Nate Diaz, and now he has a loss to Carlos Ferreira, who at this point in MMA is a no-name guy. So Anthony Pettis' stock, if I was buying stock right now, I wouldn't be buying Anthony Pettis stock. Actually, I don't know. His stock is so low right now. Maybe you want to buy low. So I don't know. I don't know how you do your stock game, but Anthony Pettis' stock is going down. And I don't know, man. I'm concerned because he's been around the block a few times, and he's gotten his head punched a couple times. So, I mean, how old is he? He is 32 years old, which in MMA is generally not that old. But he's been in so many fights and so many wars that he could have some wear and tear on his body, on his chin. So he's 1-3 in his last 4 fights. And then we look back a little bit farther. He's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 2-4. So Anthony Pettis is 2-4 in his last 6 fights, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak.
Sorry about that, guys. My son is sick, and when he hates medicine, so when he has to take medicine, it's kind of a 2-person job.
Yeah, I hear you, man. One got to hold him down, right?
Yeah, I gotta hold him down. I gotta hold him like this so he doesn't try to spit it out. she's got to put it in his mouth and blow in his face so that he actually swallows it because he's now gotten the habit of spitting it out.
Yeah, man. That's what we used to have to do, man. It's all right, dude. It happens.
Yes. All right. Yes. Pettis has not looked good in his last couple fights. I think he had the amazing knockout against Wonder Boy, loses right away Nate Diaz, now loses right here Diego Ferreira.
Man, that Wonder Boy fight is looking like it was a
fluke.
The to his career, man, because
yeah.
he needed it bad and he got it, and it just kind of gave him a little bit more juice for a little bit. But he's 2-4 in his last 6. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. His losses were good losses, like if you can call them good losses, to Ferguson and Nate Diaz, but this loss to Ferreira is not a good loss, man.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, man, that fight against Ferguson, who knows where that fight was going? That's what sucks. Who knows where that fight's going? Because I had it. What was it? It was at the end of the 3rd round that the fight got ended, right? The end of the 2nd round was when they called it. I had Pettis that 1st round. I think I had Pettis winning that 1st round because I thought at one point Ferguson was done. There was a point where Ferguson was down on the ground and Pettis was raining down punches on him, and then all of a sudden it's back on the feet, and then all of a sudden Pettis ends up on the ground. It was a great fight.
That second round towards the end, I felt like Pettis was on fumes, though, man. Like he was just trying to get to the end of the round, dude. Like I don't know. It was just I don't know, man. It's just what I was saying is he's had a lot of mileage, a lot of wear and tear, a lot of tough fights. He's 32 years old.
Has probably one of the greatest. Has probably one of the best highlight reel kicks. Wasn't a knockout because he ended up losing the fight, but that kick off the cage to Ben.
No, he won that fight.
Did he win that fight?
Yeah, because he won that fight, and with that kick, because that fight was so close. It was the last WEC card.
As that kick,
and he won, and he became the last WEC champion.
Oh, okay, I don't know why I thought he lost, but yeah, that kick's gonna go down in history as one of the greatest kicks of all time. It literally was something out of a movie.
Greatest, most creative way to use the octagon. Like it just opened up so many things.
But unfortunately, it can never seem to lead to anything here in the UFC, in terms of ongoing success. Like we said, he has that crazy knockout to Stephen Wonder Boy, the only person to knock out Wonder Boy, but it doesn't go anywhere. Like it's not good. It's not a good look. We have to see what his next fight is.
He has a lot of losses, man, in his UFC career, man. He has losses to Rafael dos Anjos, Eddie Alvarez, Edson Barboza, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, Nate Diaz. So when you look at those losses, you're like, okay,
those are big names, but
that's the cream of the crop,
Then you just lost to Diego Ferreira.
Yeah, and look at his wins. Tell me if they're the same caliber as his losses.
You have Wonder Boy, fantastic.
Okay,
Michael Chiesa.
Michael Chiesa, Jim Miller, journeyman, Charles Oliveira, which he's still journeyman, I would say, or maybe a 500 bar club, basically.
Yeah. Then you have
Gilbert Melendez, Benson Henderson, Donald Cerrone, Joe Lozon, Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah, man. It's just like I don't know. You have a lot to play Guida, bro. Like
I feel like it's just wasted potential with him, man. And it's I don't know. I would like to see a 30 for 30 on him, man, because again, he's had a tough life growing up too. I think he lost his dad, I believe. He lost his dad. That's why he has those angels on his tattooed on his chest or something like that.
Yeah.
And he just struggled with confidence even when he was at the peak and he was a champion, which is crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
So
it sucks, man. Because I mean, like I said, he's like one of my favorite fighters to watch. He's an exciting fighter to watch. But when you put out a performance like this, I don't get excited to watch you, man. Like I'm not excited for the next Pettis fight. As much as I love him.
What are you doing, man? Like, what are you doing? Move laterally. You can move side to side. You can go one side to the other side.
Yes, and dude, Ferreira has just made a big jump. He's gonna make a big jump. That's a big win that you have on your career. You always said, it's all about names. Who have you beaten? And all of a sudden, you have probably one of the guys he's gonna be a Hall of Famer one of these days. and you have a dominant win over him.
Big feather in his cap, 35-year-old Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. I liken him to basically he's Ben Askren, but the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu version of him, where he's a big time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player, 35 years old, late in his career, late to start his UFC career. But I mean, he's gonna be a problem, man. He's gonna be a problem for anybody that can't keep him off of him. He's like
Absolutely.
Damian Maya at 155 pounds, so we'll see. I want to see it. I mean, I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. I love the sport Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with the gis and also with no gi. I used to watch whenever it was on. It was called Metamoris, which was by Eddie Bravo. Or Eddie Bravo had something to do with it, but it was basically a grappling tournament. I watched the Abu Dhabi Combat Club grappling tournament. So I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So anytime a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy comes in, I get excited. Usually they let me down because they can't strike for crap.
Hey man, but this guy he hung with them.
He did hang with them, and Pettis is one of the top strikers in the division, whether it's 155 or 170. So I mean, obviously want to see more of him, man. We'll see where he goes.
Definitely. All right, next up, this is the one that got bumped up because we lost Cadelo versus Grasso. We have Brian Kelleher. Boom. Was it Boom Brian Kelleher? Taking on the Jamaican sensation, Ode Osborne. Kelleher getting the first round submission. A lot of submissions on this main card right here. And tell me about this fight. Kelleher was impressive in this fight, man.
Hold on, let me go back to it. Yeah, actually he was. But you could tell this Ode guy was and Ode rocked him a couple times. He caught him clean, a flush a couple times. He just had a big time speed and athleticism advantage on him. Yeah. But Kelleher, man, I mean, you want to talk about being calm under pressure. This dude was calm. He didn't let it get to him. He's like, okay, I got hit, but he's not going to hit me the same way anymore. And, I mean, he was just methodical with it, man.
Definitely,
he was methodical with it, took him down, was patient on the ground. Like, he didn't panic and try to, like, get full mount right away. Like, it just, I don't know, man. He was very impressive from his composure standpoint. And that's kind of like, that's a big deal in MMA when you're getting punched in the face and you can keep your composure,
Yeah, keep your composure, get the submission. And right here in the bantamweight, right? Yeah, bantamweight division, Cejudo not really competing right now. You want to try and make some kind of impression to get up there. And with Dana just handing out title shots, anyone can get one.
Well, I don't know, man.
Ode might be next.
Yeah, I was about to say the guy who lost might be the one getting the shot, man.
Oh man, the worst thing you can do in the bantamweight division is win. All right, so just a good fight all around. Good on Brian Kelleher for getting that win, and we'll see what happens with both these guys. Because I wouldn't necessarily say that Ode Osborne looked bad in this fight either.
Is this the one? How did he tap? Do you remember how he tapped?
No, I can't. I was literally just about to look that up. How he tapped? Let me see.
I think he tapped with his feet.
Did he tap with his feet?
Yeah, because like he was tapping on the ground with his feet because Kelleher had both of his arms somehow in a way where he couldn't tap. I think it was this one. Or was it the Maurice Green one?
I don't know. I'm about to look it up right quick. Hold on. Let me see if I can get real quick results.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we'll move on to
we'll move on to Oleinik, one of the oldest men in the UFC.
He's 85 years old.
Still picking up wins.
Still picking up wins, fighting Maurice Green. Maurice Green was 8-3-0 coming into this fight. Maurice Green again was on The Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter, we saw a lot of Maurice Green. He was the drama for the show. He also looked like at that point he had a drinking problem. I don't know if he still has it or not. I don't know. He's an ex-football player, huge guy, very fast, very athletic, has a lot of power. And he's also like a cerebral guy. Like he's a striker, but he kind of sets up his shots a lot and sets traps and things of that nature. Versus Alexei Oleinik, who, I don't know, man. Alexei Oleinik, to me, he's been around forever. It's funny how they were describing him a big Russian bear guy with like a ridiculous grip strength. So if he like clamps his hands together. It's a deal.
Yeah, and you were
And he
right.
said in the past,
It was Osborne who tapped with his feet. It was a guillotine.
I told you, yeah. I was like, man, that was like one of the weirdest taps I've seen, but it was pretty cool at the same time.
Yeah.
that to me just shows people who haven't seen the sport or something the exasperation that they have to tap because they're about to go to sleep. The panic that sets in.
Like I gotta get out of this.
I gotta tap somewhere, and I don't have any arms or fingers, so let me use my feet. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. You guys should go back and watch that fight just
definitely
to see that, to see
like,
the composure of Kelleher.
Like you said in the article that I had to find it, it says blink and you'll miss something, and that's really what happened because blink and all of a sudden Osborne's on the ground.
Exactly, doing it.
Crazy. But anyways, back to Oleinik and Maurice Green. This is not a good look for Green because Green, after starting 3-0, is now 2 losses in a row.
Yeah, man. So they've been kind of, I don't know, protecting Green a little bit.
Yeah.
1, because heavyweight doesn't have a lot of contenders. 2, he's a big personality. He has a potential knockout power, and he's knocked out a bunch of people in crazy ways. So they kind of wanted to like play it safe with him. But man, he has not delivered at all, man. Like fight, Oleinik. Let me tell you who he's lost to recently.
Overeem. I know that one.
Yeah. So and Walt Harris.
And Walt Harris. There you go.
This was honestly a tailor-made fight for Maurice Green as long as he could stay off the ground. And lo and behold, Maurice Green goes and delivers and is not able to stay off the ground. And Oleinik just freaking uses that monster grip of his and starts working all these different techniques. And he was trying so many different submission attempts. I thought it was so cool. And then finally get one. He finally got one, which was, I'm sure you saw, you heard geeking out over it, right? About what he did.
Nuh-uh. Well, because I went at the bar, they didn't put the sound on until the Conor fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Rogan geeked out, dude, because it's just so funny, dude. So obviously Oleinik is Russian, and he comes from a sambo background and combat sambo, and sambo is basically the country's martial art, getting that for being in the military too. That's their main go-to when they fight in the military, sambo. And it's basically wrestling mixed with submissions and things of that nature. So the way they teach them there is different from the way they teach armbars here, for example. And this was an armbar. So on his armbar, normally when they get into that position, they'll lean back to crank, right? Like they'll lean back and kind of force. But the way he did it is he leaned forward and kicked his legs out, and it's called a belly down.
Oh yeah, that was nasty.
It's called a belly down armbar.
And it looks bad.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad. But you have to be strong to do that because you get more leverage, kind of like rocking back and then having them kind of roll around for you, versus you going forward and then pushing them up. It's a different way to do it, and you have to be really good at it and really strong, which, as you know, Oleinik is freaking bare, and he pulled it off. So Joe Rogan was geeking out about it. He taught him. He asked him on the post-fight press conference, interview, about it, and Oleinik is like, that's just my reaction. That's my instinct, is to do. That's how I do it, and that's because that's how they were taught to do it. So it's just pretty cool. Just pretty interesting, different way that they teach them in Russia compared to over here.
All right. But yeah, not good for Maurice Green. Alexei Oleinik staying around, man. He's going to be hanging around a little bit longer, it seems like, because every time you would think that this is probably his last go-around. Because think about it. If he would have lost this fight, he would have been what? He would have lost his last 3.
Yeah, 3 in a row. He probably would have been cut. Yeah. He just gives himself more time as a journeyman. But at the same time, the heavyweight division is so thin that, as long as he's not like, getting knocked out.
Yeah, and getting knocked out.
Getting knocked out by like puffs of wind, he should be fine, dude. And
Yeah, I mean,
and he's always fun to watch just because he has all these crazy submission attempts, man. Like, it's crazy.
He loves his triangle chokes. I know that.
Yeah, well, no, he likes his what do they call? I forgot what they're called, but those two he got in a row from underneath. You remember?
It's like kind of like, I think they call it. In wrestling, I know they called it an anaconda.
Yeah, I mean it's an inverted anaconda, I guess, but it's from him and being on his back in guard, and then he kind of like wraps his arms around their head, and he's forced two guys to tap from that. So I don't know, man. Those are pretty cool, and I mean, I hope he almost had a different submission attempt on Green. I thought it was a either like a neck crank or some weird thing with his arm that he was trying to get to. It was weird. I don't know. But I don't know. I like to watch him fight just because of the potential for crazy submissions from him.
Yeah, man, it was pretty crazy. So we'll see what happens going forward. Like I said, not much changes in the heavyweight division because of this. But like you said, just keeps Oleinik around for a little bit longer. And it is what it is. Hold on, I meant to go over this. I was trying to go over it whenever we got to the people, but I forgot to. In terms of performances of the night, they handed out 5 of them, and no fight of the night, but they handed out a performance bonus to Diego Ferreira, Drew Dober, Brian Kelleher, Alexei Oleinik, and Connor, which we'll get to in a minute.
So basically, all the finishes.
Yeah, all the finishes, they gave all bonuses. I guess with pay-per-views, they try to give a little bit more than just the typical 2 performance of the nights and then the fight of the night, which I don't know why they didn't give they didn't give a fight of the night, probably because none of the fights were like a competitive 3-round or 5-rounder fight,
Yeah, they didn't want to. Yeah, they didn't want to give it. They didn't want to. What is it called?
Can't reward.
Yeah.
Can't reward someone for getting knocked out.
I also think that Dana does it on purpose, to set the tone for the year. You get a finish, you're probably going to get a bonus.
Yeah, makes people a little bit more hungry to get that bonus. All right, next up, let's go. The co-main event of the night. We have Holly Holm taking on Raquel Pennington in a fight that Raquel Pennington was not happy about. Holly Holm gets the win here, and the only thing I can think of after Holly Holm wins is, what does she have to do? Like, what is she? Literally, she's going to go back and get knocked out by Nunes? Like, is that what she's trying to get again? Because this fight didn't make me very confident that she could beat Nunes.
I don't think there's no way she could beat Nunes, dude. Not at this point in her career. I mean,
this fight did nothing for Holly. It did bad things for Raquel.
It probably got her another title shot in the future somehow, some way. I don't know. Nunes' opponent gets hurt last minute and put in Holly Holm. She's coming off some wins.
And I wanted to bring this up because, all right. So who was one of the where we were at last time? Durandame lost to Nunes on a thin card at Ene Aldana, knocked out the number 2 contender in Caitlin Verrera. So you want to know the rankings right now? Top 5?
Yeah, sure. Tell me, please.
We have Durandame still number 1, which is fine.
Which is fine. Yeah, that was a very competitive. Yeah.
Holly Holm at number 2. Yes. Aspen Ladd at number 3. Which is fine. Fine. Don't care. Juliana Pena at 4. I guess because she hasn't really done much lately.
No, but you hold on. That's not the same one. That's a different one.
No, I think you're thinking of Viviane Araújo, probably.
No, Pena hasn't done anything, but I think she had a baby. I'm not sure.
Okay. So they're not gonna move. And when you're inactive, they don't really move you.
Yeah, and she was good before. She was good before. She was on her way up.
Yeah. And then number 5 is Ene Aldana. Like, out of all 5 of those, the only one I'm interested in seeing right now is Ene Aldana and Nunes because of that crazy knockout, that nice knockout she had. I don't care about.
But that's so much recency bias too, man, because she's had a bad performance recently too.
Yeah. She had that one against I forgot her name. I can't remember who she fought against, but yeah, she did.
Wasn't it Carla Esparza? I think she had. Was it her? Or let me see.
I don't remember.
I don't know, man. It's tough, dude, because it's just so thin, man. Like,
that's why I said I want one more fight I want Ene to have one more fight, before she gets that title shot. I'm just saying, in terms of these 5 people, these top 5 people, and then Raquel Pennington's right there at number 6. When someone who had a loss like this that just can't get past Holly Holm.
Well, that's what it was. She lost to Raquel Pennington.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
But she's 1, 2, 3, 4. She's 5-1 in her last 6. That's her only loss.
So the Raquel Pennington one's the loss, and that was that a decision?
Or yes, split.
So it was a split decision. So it wasn't even a bad loss. It was just like she wasn't dominant. She didn't get the win.
Well, not only that, but it was here in Texas, and you know how our commission is the best commission in the world. I don't know. I got to go back and look at that fight now.
Yeah, but so in terms of Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington, like I don't have any interest in seeing either of these women fight for a title shot or fight in the title fight. I don't know where this division goes, like I said, without Irene getting a shot, but I don't even want her to get one because I would like her to get one more fight underneath her belt. Maybe Aspen Ladd. Maybe.
Yeah, the problem with that, dude, is you're eliminating 2 potential contenders. Right. So they don't like to do that. So they're probably likely fight somebody that's not going to take them out of contender status.
Yeah, true. All right, well, I just wanted to say that. Just wanted to throw that out there.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's a bad time to be in that division right now.
Yeah, it is. Just kind of the best of all time is just at the top, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
The goat is there.
The goat, the boat, all of it. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Before we get into the main event, let's talk about why Alexa Grasso and Claudia Gadelha were not on the card. Alexa Grasso literally missed weight by 5.5 pounds to make 115, if I'm not mistaken, right? 115.
That's correct.
She had to make 115, weighed in at 121. She weighed at 121.5 because she had to weigh at 116.
So 4 or 5. Yeah.
5.5 pounds above weight. They lost
Hold on. 5.5 pounds above weight, but it's 6.5 pounds above the bantamweight limit, which is 115. And for a championship fight, it would have been 6.5 pounds.
Yeah. So, like I said, Alexa Grasso weighing in way above weight, not coming in. I guess I don't want to say not prepared, but she just couldn't cut the weight.
That's not prepared. To me, that's not prepared, man. I'm not gonna give.
Well, let's go into her statement. Let's go into her statement about how she took all what am I trying to say? Like she accepted the fact that it's all her fault. Basically that it's getting harder and harder for her to cut weight at 115. So basically,
fight.
Okay, so basically announcing that she's gonna take the fight. She's gonna start fighting at 125.
She should have done it last time.
Okay, you're just like,
dude, they're professionals, man. They get paid to do this. You don't get paid to. I mean, the thing is, dude, is that you mess with people's money, dude. You mess with Claudia Gadelha's money too. Like she's trying to fight too. I'm not here to see if you can make weight or not. You're either gonna sign on the dotted line and make weight, and I get paid and get to feed my family, or you're not. I ain't got time for you.
I will say though, I'm glad that we didn't get another Aspen Ladd situation. Like, what would have happened if doing what you're saying, she makes weight, but she looks exactly like Aspen Ladd?
No, you don't. But that's the same thing though. Like that's like you should know that you can't make weight, and we don't want you to be dying when you fight and you get knocked out like Aspen Ladd got knocked out. That's not the point of fighting, man. Like.
But you're speaking from what you want to happen and not talking about what the reality of what MMA is. MMA and boxing.
No, because it's not. This is not what it is. This is not what it is.
There's plenty of people that don't make weight or make weight
by 5.5 pounds, dude. Are you kidding me?
Okay, they don't.
And even then, 5.5 pounds at that low of a weight. What's the percentage on that? Because that's got to be like a 10 pound at 185. So you're saying 195, you're really trying to make weight? You see what I'm saying? Like, no, dude, this is ridiculous. And I know her face is just like, you're looking at her face and you're like, okay. but
I understand. I understand, first of all, like I get it, but she's not hiding from it. She's not, she's doing a lot of what a lot of people are doing where they just keep their fucking mouth shut. Like she's coming out. She's accepting the fact that she fucked up, that she's going up to the next weight. Like, I understand, but fuck, dude, like you sound like you were fighting there.
Well, I mean, I have passion for the
You
sport,
didn't even
man.
want to.
So
You didn't even care
I
about
have
this
passion
fight.
for the sport. You took away a fight that I could have seen.
You didn't want to
I'm
watch
mad.
the fight.
No, I did want to watch the fight. I mean, I always want to watch the fights, the good fights, the ranked fighters, and you know, I do get frustrated too, and I just don't have any sympathy for that, man. Like,
All right, well, then
I feel like they're professionals, uh, and I don't like it when they mess up other people. You know, Claudia Gadella, he's a professional. She's fought a lot. She's always made weight, and it's not fair to her. You know, and so like you're giving Grasso props or kudos for doing the right thing after the fact and giving a good statement and being remorseful and I'm sorry and blah blah blah. I mean, that sucks for Gadella anyways. I mean, I'm sure the UFC will probably do it right and pay her, but the UFC is notorious for just paying show money and not win money, you know? And sometimes those fighters need the win money, you know, or they need the bonus. She could have probably gotten a bonus too, you know, who knows? And it's just wasted time. It's just wasted time, it's wasted effort. It sucks from the other fighters' perspective. So I don't give them a lot of leeway with that stuff, man. And then I would have been more open to her and her statement if she was closer to weight. If it was 2.5, 3 pounds, okay, you know, fine. But dude, 5.5 pounds, man, that's not even like. I mean, she must have known at the very least a week ago probably that she was not going to be able to make weight, and she didn't say a word. She didn't say a word. She didn't tell anybody. She let her, and then she let her opponent, you know, drain herself all the way down to make weight and struggle. And every fighter, dude, you can ask. That's the worst part of fighting is making weight.
yeah.
You know.
Well, that's why they shouldn't do what you shouldn't. They shouldn't be doing the weight. They shouldn't be checking the weights on the day before. They should be having weigh-ins day of, and you wouldn't have that whole I got to make weight, because then you wouldn't be trying to make yourself so uncomfortable to the point where you are feeling like shit, starving yourself, dehydrating yourself, and then you wouldn't say the worst part about this is making weight, because you'd be in fighting shape on the day that you're supposed to make weight.
I agree with you 100%, man, wholeheartedly. I've always been a big proponent. I think the two big things that my platform is running on for president of the UFC is going to be same day weigh-ins and a fighters union. You know, though, if you put those two things in this sport in the UFC, it changes the game completely for the positive for the fighters.
Yep.
You know, but hey, nobody wants to vote for me, man. So I don't know what to tell you.
I think you'd see a lot more people wanting to maybe fight, but also the UFC is run by a dictator. Anyways, let's get to the main event. We have in the welterweight division. However, this fight apparently had lightweight.
This is the 155-pound welterweight fight.
Oh, okay, there you go. Because this fight had so much like consequences in the lightweight division. Although this fight took place at 170, and then to hear that there's like talk about, I guess they're discussing they want to see Gaethje fight at 170, and it's like, why? He doesn't want to. Dude, he wants to fight at 155. He's knocking guys out at 155. Leave him alone.
There's so much to talk about this fight, man. Much less there's so little to talk about the fight itself. I mean, how long was it? You know,
40 seconds.
40 seconds, man. So let's talk about the 40 seconds. I don't know. Cerrone looked like the bigger man, but he might have not been the stronger man. Conor goes in there. He does something absolutely ridiculous, insane, creative, unique, almost on the level of the backwards elbow from Yair Rodriguez, almost, and does these crazy shoulder strikes, man.
But he meant to do the shoulder strikes.
I mean, I see no difference.
I'm just saying,
dude, and just the way he was lining them up and thrusting, and wow, that sounded weird, but just just the way he was landing the strikes, man, was amazing. At first, I was like, "What is he doing?" Like, and I meant both of them because Cerrone was just standing there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But after the fact, now we know what was going on. Conor McGregor was shattering his orbital bone and breaking Donald Cerrone's nose with those shoulder strikes,
Yeah.
which is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's incredible. I don't like Conor McGregor. I do not like him. I do not like
No.
him. But what he did in that octagon against who he did it to is amazing to me. It really is amazing to me. I'm like, holy fuck, dude! Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. This is, and the thing is like, it's fucking. I can't use the words like it's so awesome what he did out there from a fighting perspective. Like, you think in all this time that we've been seeing MMA, all these techniques have been used before, and but they haven't, apparently, because Connor unlocks this technique that does so much damage in such a short amount of time, and it catches his opponent off guard, who's arguably the same level striker as him, and he's never seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
And he just knocks him out with it, and he shatters his face. It's crazy, man. It's just really crazy, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, man, it's insane. He said one of the things going into this fight, I said was over and over all week long was, uh, Cerrone just had to weather the early storm that was going to be coming, and he couldn't, man. He succumbed to the shoulder strikes, which, as we've said before, they're not really meant to do damage. I think Bisping was saying on the post show, they're just there to be an annoyance. They're not really there. They're not used. It's the same. He equated them to the foot stomps. You're not really there to try to. They're not really there to hurt the other person. They're just like, hey, I'm here. I'm in your face. I just don't want you to be comfortable. I'm trying to make you uncomfortable.
Or what I've seen too is if and I think Randy Couture used this. Randy Couture was really good in the clinch, but he always wanted, I think, their head on this side, on his left side.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were on this side, he would hit him with the shoulder
So they go to the other side.
to get him like to move in position where they wanted him, and that's what I've seen it used for mainly.
So Couture uses it as setup. Other fighters use it as like a way to show that they're being active, or to try and, like you said, like to try and get them off their game. Like, hey, I know you're clinching me right now to kind of like rest. No, like I'm gonna go ahead and throw this at you just so you're like, oh, I can't stay here. I got to move around. But Connor threw these apparently with the intent to hurt, and that's exactly what they did. They hurt Cerrone to the point where he basically was backing up, got hit with the kick, and that was it.
Dude, I've seen it like 15 times, dude, and you can see him lining them up, squatting, and then like just jumping 100% into it, dude.
Yeah,
and it's just, I mean, I don't know. He figured something out, dude. He just figured something out. But then the little talked about thing that he did was to get the final knockout. It's so subtle, dude. It's so subtle. He knows Cerrone's hurt. He knows he's not 100% there, and when he's following him to knock him out, he feints ever so slightly. It's just like a little, and Cerrone thinks that the left hand is coming, but the left hand isn't coming. It was a left high kick, and that was the end. That was the beginning of the end. That's what tumbled them over, and but nobody talks about that because the shoulders are so amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that little stuff that he does, where he's fainting and you're thinking that big left hand's coming, and he has a different strike ready to knock you out, and he's just I don't know, man. He's when you put him in there with somebody that, like he said before, that's not special in one aspect, he's gonna expose them. Khabib is special in wrestling. He's just special in wrestling. He's a special guy. But if anybody else is in there with him, I mean, Nate Diaz is special in endurance, and he caught Conor off guard, and then Conor adjusted, and he beat him. Figured out a way to beat him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he can beat Khabib just because Khabib is such a unique wrestler in MMA. But I definitely think it would probably be more competitive. I definitely think that for sure. Are we ever going to get to see that fight? I don't think so. Not anytime soon.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a little bit because there are some people talking in the national media that don't watch fights, that just watch, literally they see a Connor headline and they're talking about it on their shows. Or I really want to get into what Stephen A said. That's super disrespectful to Cowboy. But like I said, good on Connor. Connor, no one takes away the fact that he's special.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's known he's special. The minute I saw Connor fight, I don't even remember who it was. I saw him fight someone, and I was like, "This guy is legit." And he proved me right. He proved to everyone else that believed in him that right. The unfortunate part is he's not a great human being. And thing is, that seems to be the pattern here in sports, is when you have a crazy athletic guy or someone who's gifted athletically, they tend to not be a good person. It seems to be what happened to the days when all our super athletes and all our great athletic heroes were just decent people. It doesn't happen very often anymore.
I mean, it's not even with that. We talked about this before. You know, my struggle back and forth too with actors. You know, like we don't scrutinize actors like we do athletes. I mean, before Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man, I mean, he was the guy that his career tumbled and he had addiction issues, you know, and DUIs and all this other stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. He's basically blackballed. Like Jon Favreau had to convince Bob Iger that Robert Downey Jr. was the guy, because he had all this bad history of alcohol abuse, drug abuse, and Jon Favreau was like, no, like, hey, give him a chance. He's the guy. And now he literally was the reason. He's a big reason why the MCU became the MCU.
Yeah.
Without him, that series might not work.
You know, same thing too. Kevin Spacey. You know, Kevin Spacey has had some iconic.
He's out of Hollywood.
Yeah, and I mean, from all accounts, he's a horrible human being. You know what I mean?
But in terms of sports, all you got to do is you got to catch a touchdown, or you got to come out and have a nice knockout, and everyone all of a sudden forgets. I literally have not heard anyone talk about the Connor stuff.
Oh, I've heard some. I've read some. I think I retweeted some, and I favorited some on Twitter. And it's out there, but there's just such a mountain of news. I mean, if we can go into it real quick, like the mountain of news that's coming out about Connor and his future, it's crazy, dude. Like, I'll give you an example. So we're talking about Gaethje and his future fights and Khabib and all this stuff, right? Well, right before the fight, Pacquiao called him out. Manny Pacquiao. Okay. Manny Pacquiao. Okay. And Manny Pacquiao last year won a legitimate championship from Keith Thurman in a fight. That was a good fight, but Pacquiao won. I mean, I mean, Pacquiao won that fight. So he's a real champ. And Connor would have, based on his fight with Floyd, he probably has a legitimate chance to probably beat aging and slowing down Pacquiao.
Yeah, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's going to be on the table.
It will be a ton of money. It would do a ton. It would do probably 3/4 of what Floyd and Connor did, and that's $75 million for McGregor. Just so you know. Okay, so that happened the day of. Okay, today, I think it was Leonard Ellerby, or I forgot who it was, who's the manager for Terrence Crawford, said that he wants to fight Conor McGregor. Terrence Crawford is pound for pound, in my opinion, the best boxer in the world right now. Probably, yeah, probably one or 1A. Him and Vasily Lomachenko, and he doesn't back away from anybody. On top of that, look at how much leverage Conor has, where he put it out there that he's willing to do a 2-fight deal, one first for boxing, second for MMA. That's never happened before, you know that. But that's the leverage that Conor has. That's the A side, the star power that McGregor has. So right now, McGregor is sitting pretty. He can choose who he wants to fight. If it's Pacquiao, if it's Crawford, if it's Gaethje, which why would you if you're Conor?
Yeah, he's not gonna.
Or if it's Khabib, which you have to wait for the Khabib Ferguson. And honestly, who was it? Somebody said that they should undo the Ferguson Khabib fight.
Let's skip Bayless
and put Khabib versus
Yeah.
Connor, and,
So,
and and I'm like, don't give Dana White any.
oh, he did. He did. Everyone was worried. Everyone's worried that Khabib and Ferguson won't happen because of injury. Now we know it's going to be because of Skip Bayless. So yeah, Skip, and that's where I wanted to go, was where these national guys that don't follow, they just literally have, it's a Connor fight, so of course they're going to talk about it. They look at, literally, he was like, I don't know who this Ferguson guy is, or this fight's coming up. But he's like, can you just cancel it? Not knowing that this fight has been put off 4 times.
Dude, I'm gonna go on to the what's the Skip Bayless on? What is it called? First Take or something. What is it called? Undisputed. And I'm gonna go on his desk and I'm gonna shit on his desk, because that's what he's doing to our sport, man. He's coming in here and shitting on our fighters. He's shitting on our champions. He's shitting on our fights that we've been waiting to see. And I'm just gonna do that to him, man, because that's ridiculous, dude. Like,
he literally all he did was jump on Connor's jock. That's literally all he did, because that's what all these sport, dude. Nobody was talking about this fight coming up. Like, it wasn't until Connor had the knockout, Now all of a sudden Connor's the next best thing that we can talk about, blah blah blah. Not knowing that Ferguson has been messing up people in the lightweight division. He deserves this title shot.
11 fight win streak.
Yes, Khabib is the most dominant champion that we have in the UFC right now, besides John Jones. And there's no like I mean, as we know, there's no like bad stuff coming out about Khabib. Khabib is just one of those guys. He wrestles a bear. He's got a religion. He's got a religion that a lot of people don't agree with.
No, it's not that. Khabib has his skeletons in his closet with the people he's aligned with in Dagestan.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, I still, as bad as Khabib is, which is still not even on the same level as Connor. But he's more passable than a Connor would be. I agree on that part.
But we've been trying to have this Khabib and Tony Ferguson fight for how long now? Like, and we're getting it, and you who don't watch the sport shit on it because you want to get on this next guy's job.
Yeah, that's like if I didn't watch the NFL and I'm like, let's just do Kansas City versus Baltimore for the Super Bowl.
For the Super Bowl. Mean,
like, why? Who's Garoppolo? I don't want to see that. Get Garoppolo out of there and put Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the Super Bowl.
It's the same problem that I have with national media members that say, especially in college basketball, Michigan State versus Virginia, or not Michigan State, or Texas Tech versus Virginia in the championship game. And you have all these national media guys shitting on it because they're like, I want a Duke there.
Yeah, it's not one of the big guys. It's not one of the, man, if you keep getting those same guys, then what's the point, man?
People aren't going to watch it.
Just have those guys play a little tournament in between in the season, and then there you go. You'll be happy. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, you're shitting on the entire process of that, and you shit on this entire process of this man's been winning 11 fights in a row to try to get to this spot, has had it taken away from him by natural means, not by him tripping on a cord. What was the other one? Not making weight or something like that?
No.
Wasn't it two? Khabib got hurt.
Khabib got hurt, yeah.
Then Ferguson got hurt. All these problems that they've had in this fight is finally lining up. Seemed like it's finally lining up, and even then, it seemed like it wasn't going to happen because Dana was dead set on Connor, even though Connor hadn't come back yet. Finally, he moved on, decided Ferguson, and now you're going to put this idea in Dana's head, and Dana's going to be like, I don't know, man, this fight. I'm gonna give me a lawyer see if I can back out this contract because.
I don't know. I text Tony Ferguson 3 minutes ago. He hasn't replied, so I'm having to cancel it because he's not ready for the fight.
He must tore his ACL. Was he walking backstage again? He must tore his ACL.
Yeah. Man, guys, I don't have any what is it called? Any confirmation, but I'm pretty sure Tony Ferguson tore both his ACL, so he's off the card. And Connors is fresh. He just got 40-second knockout. He didn't even break a sweat, so we're gonna do that fight.
Like, hold on, guys. The phone's ringing. One ring, he didn't answer. All right, we're canceling it. It's ridiculous, man. And then the fact that, don't get me started on Stephen A. Smith, man, with the whole saying Conor Cerrone did basically gave away this fight.
No, dude.
How dare you, dude? Cerrone has more fights than anybody in the UFC, more wins than anybody in the UFC. I think he has 27 in the UFC.
Yeah, 27 wins.
27 wins in the UFC.
Most
Because
bonuses.
most bonuses, most wins by head kick. Like, it's ridiculous. And you want to say that, oh, because he got beat by something that no one's ever done, you're going to say that he didn't try?
Dude, I would never question.
A fighter.
No. I mean, you could question. So I
Dude.
told you, some fighters, even Connor, when in that Nate Diaz fight, he gave up his back to tap out. Like,
Okay, yeah,
and
giving up in that, but he
yeah,
basically saying that he didn't even try. That was the thing, is the
yeah,
trying thing, man.
I would never question Cerrone in a fight, dude. Like, Cerrone is a fighter's fighter. He's a gamer. Like, that's like questioning Ray Lewis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
But
you don't like that's Cerrone. Like, Cerrone fought like 4 or 5 times in a year once. Like, he fights on a drop of a dime. Like, he's a fighter. He's
yeah,
not gonna go in there and say, "Go ahead and break my orbital bone and not let me fight." I think he's on a 6 month suspension now because of the orbital. And the orbital for, I don't know if you know this, but the orbital bone in the fight game is a huge um, injury. It
good
can
bond
alter
somebody.
it can alter your career. It can end your career if it does. So one of the big ones recently, well, I guess not even recently, probably 10 years ago. Remember Antonio Margarito?
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Margarito got his orbital shattered by Manny Pacquiao, and after that, he was a shell of himself. And so, I mean, the orbital bone is a huge bone in a fighter because in reality, it's like protection, as long as it can hold. But
Yeah.
once it's broken, it's I don't know, it's not the same. So I really fear for Cerrone going forward, especially in a more brutal sport of MMA. So yeah, he's not gonna let Connor shatter his orbital bone. Like, he was trying to fight, he was trying to win the fight. He got thrown a technique that's never been seen before, and it messed him up, dude. He said himself, he was dazed. He was like, "What is this?" Like, he was in his mind asking himself, "What's going on?" Because it was dazing him, and he didn't know what the hell was going on because
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know how that was happening in that position that they were in. You
Yeah.
know?
So I just want to say, like, just what's wrong with media, with national media members, man? I don't get it. I guess I don't know if you're forced to talk about these things and you don't know anything about it, but
That's usually what happens, man. I was thinking about when I was hearing them talk about Connor, Max Kellerman, dude. Max Kellerman used to be a great, I'm talking about great boxing commentator, boxing historian. And when he moved on to be more of a overall guy and talk about all the sports, his boxing knowledge just I mean plummeted, dude. And it's crazy, man, because I don't know, man. I mean, I would hate for that to happen to me from a MMA standpoint. I love the sport of MMA.
mm-hmm.
Um, but maybe that's the transition, dude, and that's the price you got to pay to play in the national television
Yeah.
league.
I'll tell you right now, I would never want to be if that's what happens. I don't ever want to be in the national media. I'd rather just stay in this sphere right here because I don't ever want to be caught looking stupid on national TV, and that's what these guys did.
I mean, dude, what's his name? Stephen A. Smith was talking about Hunter Henry when that dude was out for the season. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he couldn't even get Derrick Henry's name right.
yeah. So I don't know, man. It just sucks that the media, and again, like you said, they got to talk about it. That's what's hot. That's what's on everybody's mind is that huge knockout. So they have to get some commentary. So they want to get it from their top guys, and their top guys just really don't have the time for that, man. They don't got the time to sit through the whole UFC card or I mean, and understand the nuance of the sport and the division and what's going on in the UFC. So, I mean, I fault them for that. For the only thing I fault them for is the confidence in which they say they're bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're talking about it like it's gospel, when in reality they really don't. And it's okay not to know everything. They could do it a much different way, but they choose not to.
Yeah, I think my main one is the how, like, you don't know, you know how you know you don't know, you don't know a sport when you say the hardest working guy in the sport didn't came in and didn't try. Like you said, like, he's on a 6 month suspension because of the orbital bone. I bet you anything the minute that Dana gets the call, or Dana calls him and says, "Hey man, you're all good. You're all like the doctor's cleared you. You want to fight?" So you think Cerrone's gonna say no?
No, we just say yes. You know, the other part of that too is that's gonna mess with his recreational activity because he likes to dive. You know, like he likes to cave dive. Did you
Yeah,
know that about?
he's a big adrenaline junkie.
That's not gonna be possible anymore because of the pressure that's gonna put on his orbital.
Dang.
At least for the beginning, you know. So I don't know, man. It's a career altering loss for Cerrone, and for somebody to say he didn't try, that's kind of fucking weak sauce, man.
It is, man.
That's
And I just hope that someone would come up. It looked like Joe Rogan wanted to say something because when he was talking to Joe Rogan about it, and I agree with, I mean, Stephen, I don't necessarily agree with, but he was like, "Oh, I didn't learn anything from this fight because, Conor won in such like spectacular fashion that I don't even know if he's ready for Khabib," which I can see where you can think that, like,
man.
okay, he's not ready for Khabib because I can't see anything that changes my idea of that. But then you follow that up with that stupid ass comment about Cowboy not showing up or not wanting to fight, and it looked like Joe Rogan wanted to say something, but Joe Rogan is also employed by ESPN. I mean, he's employed by UFC, and who's employed by ESPN, and that's like one of ESPN's top guys. Like that's the guy they send everywhere.
Dude,
like he has a lot of pull, and you don't want to piss him off.
I mean, who has done this to Cerrone, dude? Who?
Nobody's done that. Even against Ferguson, like one of the guys who destroys people. Cerrone still wanted to go. His eye all swelled up and shit. He still wanted to go. But what? Conor gets in the octagon, and he's afraid of Conor? No, come on.
Mm-hmm.
He had every intent to hurt Conor in that fight. They both had every intent to hurt each other. He got shocked.
Now, another thing I want to talk about that I don't know how I just remembered, but I'm sure, and I'm hoping, and maybe I hope I'm not being naive because of the damage that Cerrone sustained. But did you see their salaries, dude?
It was at 200K for Cerrone.
It was 200K for Cerrone to show and 200K to win. So 400K, dude. I'm hoping he was getting points on it on the pay-per-view because I'm sure it was a massive pay-per-view. And afterwards, the word of mouth probably is going to help him because of the finish. Conor getting $3 million to show. He's probably I'm sure he has points on the pay-per-view.
He definitely does.
But man, that Cerrone paycheck, dude, is such garbage to me, dude. Yep. That's so much garbage to me, dude.
This guy's one of the most. But I know people that don't even watch UFC all the time that know who Cowboy is.
Dude, he's one of my best friends. It's his favorite fighter, and he's like a little bit less than a casual. He trains jiu-jitsu, so he kind of knows what's going on, especially with jiu-jitsu guys. Mm-hmm. But Cerrone's his favorite fighter, and for him to have the fan base and the cult following that he has because he's a gamer, because he's a fighter's fighter, all the fights that he's had, all the big wins that he's had, all the big losses that he's had, all the company man fights that he's had coming in and last minute notice, and for him to be getting paid 200 to show and 200 to win, I think it's garbage, man. I just do. And I'll reiterate, I think the fighters need a union, man. Like somebody with that tenure needs to be getting paid more to fight, dude. At this stage in his career, the mileage, the wear and tear. And now look, he's out for 6 months, dude. At the very least, with the orbital, he's gonna have to come back from that. He's gonna have to make sure it's 100%. You're looking at probably 9 months out, maybe a year, depending. Mm-hmm. And he got 200 to show, and that's it basically because he didn't win. So he got 200K to get his orbital shattered in 40 seconds. And again, that's part of the game, but at the same time, I feel he should be getting paid a lot more than that.
Absolutely, I'm right there with you, man. All right, man. So I think we talked all we can about this fight, Conor versus Cerrone.
Real quick,
go ahead.
Who do you got? Who do you have Conor fighting next in anything, whether it's boxing or MMA?
Man, before that post-fight match, I would have said. That post-fight interview, I would have said Masvidal because he was calling out Masvidal, and then to hear Masvidal before the fight saying he wants the money, And I mean, when when they asked him, they literally asked him, "What do you want, title or money, or who do you want, title, Usman or McGregor next?" And all he said was, "I want the money." We all know who he's talking about because I mean, Usman isn't going to get you the paycheck that McGregor is going to get you. So he's obviously basically saying, "I want McGregor." Talking all they're all been talking all this shit, but then you have your opportunity. Masvidal's in the crowd, and you don't call him out. I think he's probably going to go to a boxing fight. I would say Pacquiao's probably the best money right now.
I think from a strategic standpoint, Pacquiao is the easiest fight for him to win in boxing.
Yeah, he doesn't want another boxing fight that he doesn't think he can win.
And it's the most money. It's the most money. So I feel like in his heart of hearts, he probably wants one more fight before he fights Khabib. He also doesn't want to lose. Like he doesn't want to lose that Khabib fight. But when he's gonna get thrown like $50 million, $40 million to fight Pacquiao, dude. I mean, that's
a big chance of winning.
That's a ton of money. That's a ton of money to walk away from. And something was telling, I don't know if I told you, he had an interview probably a week before the fight with ESPN. And actually it was with Ariel Helwani, I think. And yeah, that dumb interview with Ariel Helwani where Ariel Helwani was lobbing softballs at him.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked him, about boxing. He's like, I'm gonna be a boxing champion soon, and so Ariel Helwani kind of caught on to it quick and said, so does that mean that you're gonna have multiple fights, multiple boxing matches? And Connor, thought about it and started laughing and said no. So basically, he's cutting the line. He's cutting the line to get a championship fight. And I'm telling you, man, like the way I look at it right now, everything points in my mind to a Pacquiao fight. Pacquiao called him out. Pacquiao holds a belt that's a legitimate belt. It's not a bullcrap belt. And Pacquiao is going to bring in a crap load of money, dude. A crap load of money.
Yep. So I think I'm leaning Pacquiao for the next fight. I would love the Masvidal fight. I think that would actually be a good fight.
It's not enough money.
It's not enough money for him. But I'm just saying, in my eyes, that'd probably be the best fight in terms of entertainment value of the fight because both those guys are going to bang.
Well, it depends too if Conor thinks he could really beat Masvidal easily, he'll take that fight because that would be his second fight, and then he'll fight Khabib, which will be stupid again because he's going to fight at 170.
Yeah,
but this
this represents the 155.
That's what I'm saying. It's a 155 pound welterweight fight. So, but I guess it depends on how much he wants to fight Khabib. Like, how much does he want that rematch? How much does he want to get that loss back?
Yeah, I think it's all about money for him right now.
And then, is there enough money to say, I don't really care about the Khabib fight. Let me get this. Let me get this Brinks truck of cash backed up into my garage.
Yeah, I think it's all about the money for him right now. I think maybe Khabib is on his mind because that's the highest paying UFC fight he could get is Khabib, because I think that'll sell out like crazy.
I don't know, dude. Do you think Khabib will sell more than Masvidal? Dude, Masvidal's super hot right now, man.
I know, but I think with the history and they'd play off of that like crazy, they would be showing. You don't think they're gonna be showing that clip of the broad?
The bus.
They're gonna show the bus. They're gonna show They're gonna bring up the fact that Rose Namajunas doesn't want to fight anymore because of what Conor did. They'll bring up the fact. They'll show the brawl at the very end of the fight.
But dude, you don't think they're gonna show the crazy knockouts from Masvidal?
Oh, they absolutely will.
The beating up Nate. The BMF belt. This is the BMF belts on the line.
And two-piecing up Leon Edwards. There's all that stuff, but I think it's history versus the new hot product right now. And I mean, I absolutely agree that if they're going to do the Masvidal Conor, that has to happen soon, because if Masvidal takes on Usman, I don't think I have Masvidal winning that fight right now.
I don't have it either. I don't have him winning.
I have Usman wrestling the shit out of him and keeping him at bay. 5 rounds of just grinding him into the ground like he did Tyron Woodley.
I don't think it would go 5 rounds.
You think he would tap him out?
I think he TKO him probably, man, because
TKO?
it's gonna be,
Masvidal hasn't been knocked out though.
yeah, but he's never fought a big dude like Usman that's gonna lay on top of him and just beat him to a pulp, man. You know,
I don't know if I don't know. I think I would have it 5 rounds if he fought Usman.
we'll see. We'll
Or
see.
because wait, has he been? He hasn't been knocked out, but has he been finished?
Who, Masvidal?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been finished before. He's been. Remember, he got choked out, that weird choke back in the day, and I
By who?
think, huh?
By who?
It's. I mean, it's so old. It's by this guy named Toby Imada. He did
Oh,
that inverted triangle choke on him. Remember, I told you about it.
yeah.
He's the first one to land an inverted triangle choke.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he hasn't been knocked out.
Let me see. He lost the decision to Stephen Thompson. He lost the decision to Damian Maya. He lost the decision to Lorenz Larkin. He lost the decision to Ben Henderson. He lost the decision to Ally Quinta. He lost the decision to Rustam Kabilov. He lost the decision to Gilbert Melendez. I mean,
When
okay,
he loses, they go to decision.
so look, Melendez wrestler, Kabilov wrestler, Quinta wrestler slash boxer, and he wrestled him that fight. Benson Henderson wrestler. Lorenz Larkin's a striker, but he's a lot bigger. He fights at 185. Damian Maya, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist. Stephen Thompson, who is the karate guy, who's probably one of the best strikers in the UFC.
Stay out of his range
But
just check.
He's never fought a wrestler like that. So,
all right. I mean, I think, like I said, I think Khabib probably sells more. Just in my opinion, because if this fight happens, it's going to happen down the line. And by then, the heat off of Masvidal, because he's not going to fight again until he either gets Conor or Usman.
Dude, imagine Conor fighting Pacquiao and winning.
That'd be crazy.
But you know how much leverage he would have against Khabib?
Oh man! At that point,
I want to fight you in Ireland. I want to wear one boxing glove. You wear one boxing glove.
No.
I mean, it's gonna be
you
whatever.
Have to have your arm tied behind your back.
It's gonna be whatever Conor says, dude.
I'm gonna be riding a bear. So you got to wrestle me and the bear.
It's a triple threat match, but only for you.
Yeah. Oh, it's a handicap match. There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and we do have a UFC event coming up this weekend. Actually, a pretty decent card. I want to go over just the main card. Just give our thoughts. You don't have to necessarily say you think someone who's going to win, but like if you have someone that you know is going to win, go ahead and say it. The first one we have is the light heavyweight bout, which I'm super excited to see. Jamaha Hill taking on Darko Stosic, and I'm really hoping to see Jamaha Hill have a really good showing in this fight. I told you, I think he's one of my like top prospects from the Contender Series that I'm really excited to watch. We're supposed to see him in China when Weili won her title, but he had some visa issues, couldn't get over there to China. So now we're gonna get it here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So.
Yeah, I got Jamaha Hill on that one. Stosic is a tough dude. I've seen him fight a couple times. But like you said, this guy Hill, he was very impressive prospect, and I'm just interested in seeing the fight. But it just looks like it's a kind of a fight kind of made for him.
Yeah,
Stosic is kind of slow and prodding. He has a lot of power, but Jamaha Hill is just, I don't know, overall better in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, next up, women's strawweight division. We have Hannah Cyphers taking on Angela Hill. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is this Hannah Cyphers the one that doesn't like to talk on the mic?
Yes.
That's super awkward.
Yes.
Won her last fight against Escobil. Won the one before that against Viana, but she lost the one to Barber.
That's right.
Okay, so I didn't watch the Barber fight because I wasn't watching UFC at the time. That was in 2018. But I do remember the Escobil fight, was just like, I think she was wrestling. Or no, I can't remember what she was doing. But yeah, she won the fight handily. I think it was a unanimous decision. Angela Hill, I don't like I said, I just know that she's been in the UFC for a long time.
So Angela Hill, dude, man, what can I say about her? She's a tough fighter. She takes a lot of damage in her fights, and every fight that I've seen her, I'm like, man, she's about to get knocked out, and somehow she digs deep and she comes back and she ends up either getting close to a knockout herself, like knocking another opponent out, or grinds it out to a decision or what have you. She's been on the wrong side of a couple decisions. But man, she's a fighter, dude, and I like to see her just because I want to see if she ever turns that corner and just puts it all together. But she's tough as nails, dude.
All right. So you leaning anyway in that one?
No, I'm not leaning right now. I think that's an evenly match fight.
Okay. We'll just see if what's your name got any better at talking.
I would love to see that, see how it goes. Maybe she's been getting coached on that, man. That's part of being an MMA fighter. You got to get better and everything.
I hope so. All right. I don't know anything about either of these two fighters, so you go ahead and take the reins. Jordan Espinosa.
I don't know Jordan Espinosa. I know Alex Perez. Alex Perez is a decent fighter. I'm surprised they're so hard up on here, but I guess you can. I mean, you have a prospect and then you have a women's fight, so they would put them ahead of them.
They're both ranked.
They're both ranked. What's Espinosa's ranking?
Espinosa's number 10.
And Perez should be ahead of him, or no?
No, he's 11.
Huh.
So it's 10, 11 going up against each other.
Okay. So, I mean, it's flyweight 125. So, you know what that means? That's the division that was about to get expunged. So
Triple C, the savior.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I just know Perez, and I don't know. I mean, he's not that great of a fighter. He's a good fighter. That's why I'm assuming he's ranked number 11.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what they have. Usually flyweights and Perez is a pretty fast dude. So
flyweights are exciting.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that one goes.
All right, and then the co-main event: Rafael dos Anjos taking on Michael Chiesa. Interested to see what you think about this one.
Whew. So this one, Michael Chiesa is going to be the bigger guy. He's a very big welterweight. He's a wrestler by trade. That's normally how he wins his fights. Dos Anjos is a wrestler. He has a wrestling background and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. But man, I don't know. Like Dos Anjos has been getting lucky on his past couple fights. Not lucky. I don't want to say it's luck. I want to say it's kind of like perfect timing. Like the stars are aligning for him to get certain wins. The losses that he hasn't been that bad. Haven't been that bad. But I don't know. I think this is kind of be a younger stallion is gonna take the fight here. So I'm thinking Michael Chiesa might. I'm leaning Michael Chiesa right now.
That's actually where I'm leaning as well, man. If you look at Dos Anjos, like it just seems like every time he's gonna like start to show something, then he ends up losing to somebody. Like he just lost to Leon Edwards after having an impressive showing against Kevin Lee. And then before that, he had the dang. I had it pulled up and I went away from it. 1 second. He had the where is it? Dang it! Okay, here we go. Before that, loses to Usman, loses to Covington. Like he just hasn't had that. And then look who he loses to, the wrestlers.
Yep.
So
and Chiesa's a wrestler, and he's strong. I'm telling you, he's a big 170 pounder dude.
Yeah, I think in his last fight, Chiesa looked really good in his last fight. So I'm expecting Chiesa to start making his way up that welterweight division, which seems to be the wrestling division.
Yeah, Chiesa dominated and basically sunned Diego Sanchez. Remember?
Yeah. Submitted Condit in 2018.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it, but then before that, lost to Pettis. So
yeah, lost to Pettis, and then before that, he lost to Kevin Lee. So I don't know, man.
All right, so I think I'm leaning Chiesa. I think he's trying to make his way up in this division. That because I'm assuming he fought Lee at lightweight.
Yeah, it was 155.
Okay, so he's made his jump up to
welterweight,
and he's looked good.
Yeah, so, and that's actually perfect because Kevin Lee went up to welterweight, but he couldn't handle it, and so he went back down. But Michael Chiesa has been at welterweight, and he's been decent there, and he looks better. So it's just a matter of his frame was probably too big for 155, and he was too drained when he was fighting the 155 pounders.
Especially as a wrestler, when you need your weight to be like part of your game plan, you got to be able to lay on someone and grind them out, and he does that now. And I think that Chiesa is going to get the win and probably break into the top 15.
I think so too, man. I think it's time. He's been a prospect. He's been on the Ultimate Fighter. I think he's Ultimate Fighter winner. So I've been kind of like, babying him along. This is a big name. This will be a big feather in his cap. So I'm kind of leaning him too.
All right. And we got the main event. Curtis Razor Blades taking on Junior Dos Santos. Where are you leaning? I think I'm going the younger guy in Curtis Blades.
So
Go ahead.
I'm going Blades. The only reason I'm going Blades because I'm telling you, Dos Santos is a crafty veteran. He's a definition of a crafty veteran. But Blades has learned from his losses and his mistakes that he's not a striker. He's a wrestler, and he's gonna take you down and grind you and knock you out or submit you. And that's what he's gonna do to Junior Dos Santos. So I just see Blaze just coming in, taking him down, and grinding him out. I don't see him trying to strike with him because he knows that Dos Santos is one of the better strikers in the heavyweight division, especially from a boxing standpoint. And he's crafty, he's a veteran. I just see him going in there saying, "I gotta take care of my business. Dos Santos is in front of me. Let me wrestle him and beat him up." And that's how I see the fight going.
Yeah, same here. I mean, nothing to add to that really. Just I think Curtis Blades I think he's trying to make that leap. He's had a couple fights since losing to Ngannou and winning those fights handily against Willis and then against what did I just had it. I can't pronounce his name.
Abdurakhimov.
Yeah, and then having that fight. So I think this fight right here is his next jump into trying to go for that heavyweight belt. Maybe he probably has to wait until Stipe decides if he's going to come back or not because we've heard the rumblings that he might be retiring.
Yeah, he got an injury, right? He's injured,
and apparently I think it's his eye or his orbital.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's not healing as well as they're thinking.
I'm telling you, man, those orbitals, dude. Those orbitals for fighters are death sentences, man. They're death nails. They're the beginning of the end, man. And anytime I hear orbital shattered, that's bad. I think Bisping had his orbital shattered as well.
Well, we all know how that happened. How that ended.
Yeah, and that was the same fight where he got his retina detached, I think.
You know how that ended.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. When you start dealing with the eyes and the protective bones around the eyes, it's just I don't know. I mean, that's where you get punched the majority of the time is your eyes, your nose.
Yeah.
And if you have that weak part, you're gonna get it shattered every time, or it just doesn't heal right. And I don't know.
And not everybody's Michael Bisping that's willing to fight with one eye.
Exactly, man.
All right.
Literally
one eye. All right, guys. That's basically the end. Let's go ahead before we head out though. Angel had a little request. Angel's been with us since we started here on YouTube, so and live streaming. So we're gonna go ahead and give him what he wants. He wants us to talk about the Morbius trailer.
Is that what he wants to talk about?
Let's talk about the Morbius trailer. What did you think? Go ahead.
The first thing I think is I'm a comic book collector, so my Adventures in the Fear number 20 has skyrocketed thanks to this Morbius trailer. Thank you, Morbius trailer.
All right.
But no, man, I thought it was. I'm gonna be honest, I was not expecting a lot. I really wasn't. We've talked about the Sony trailers and how they do their trailers. But I felt like it was a good trailer. I felt like we got a lot of the kind of backstory to Morbius, Dr. Morbius, in it, and kind of his degenerative disease, and then. It's funny because there was a guy that posted on Twitter. He's like, if you see bats, drink one time. If you see this, drink one time. And he kind of hit on all of them before it came out, which I thought was funny. But you can kind of tell it's. I mean, we know the story pretty much, but what are they gonna? How are they gonna show it? How are they gonna do it? How are they gonna push it into the overall Sony Marvel universe, whatever it's called? I didn't like the spoiler at the end. I didn't like it. I love it, but
you didn't like that they showed it.
Yeah, man, like they showed it away. They showed their cards way up front, man.
Okay,
but go ahead. I'll let you talk about it.
I was gonna say because I don't think that they would have put that in there if he doesn't play some sort of not large part, but a pivotal part in the story. I think there has to be something if you're gonna put Michael Keaton or. They got to sell this movie because nobody knows what the hell Morbius is. Everyone knows that Michael Keaton was Vulture.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that plays a part of it. But I also think that Marvel, even though Sony's making this, it is Marvel has their say, has the creative, not control, but they have a lot of input, and I think they're very much in the back. They're like, oh, we would do this, and they're like, oh yeah, keep telling us what you would do.
But man, is that not like that? Just tells me a lot because they've always said that the only one that can go across universes is Spider-Man. So how can Vulture go from one universe to the other?
However, even though the Spider-Man is the only one that flips over, that does mean that the movie, Vulture's in the MCU, Scorpion's in the MCU.
Well,
Technically, they are because that's the same world. Also, what's his name? Mysterio is in the MCU. Now, I think this makes me feel a little bit better knowing that this is in the MCU instead of dancing around it like they did with Venom. Even though I like
oh no, it's not in the MCU, dude. The
it
Morbius is
is.
not, no, it's not. It's not
Yes,
gonna be. There's no.
including Vulture puts in the MCU.
No, it does not. No, it
How
does
does it
not.
not? How does it not?
That's what I'm telling. Because there's no way. There's no way that they're gonna put Morbius in the MCU, dude. The only way, and we haven't heard anything about it, but there has to be some sort of sharing agreement because, um, Sony has the rights to it, and Sony for years, dude. I've been hearing about Sinister Six for like 5 or 6 years. That Sony's been wanting to push the Sinister Six
That was
with
Sinister Six when it was involved with with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man because they wanted
yeah,
to make the spin-off movie.
yeah, but they've still been wanting to do that ever
Yeah.
since. That's why they had. That's why they're building the villains first, like Venom and Morbius, and now
But
the Vulture.
But Venom has not been confirmed in the MCU. Vulture has been confirmed in the MCU.
I know, but I'm saying that
MCU.
Sony's been wanting to do the Sinister Six, and that's why they've been building these villains. And you see what I'm saying? Like
I
that's
see what
why
you're saying, but you can't say that Morbius isn't in the MCU. We don't
he's
know
not.
yet.
He's not in the MCU. He's
We
not.
don't know yet. We do
Look,
know Blade is
I
coming
will
out.
call Kevin Feige when we get off, and I will get the
We
confirmation.
do know that Blade is coming out.
Yes.
Be coming out in a few years. What better way? I mean, you can involve Morbius inside of a Blade movie, or vice versa. Maybe you get some kind of Blade thing. Okay, let's get to it. Yeah, because he's saying we're talking about like the actual story.
Mhm.
Are you excited about this movie? Does it look good to you?
Uh, yes. So I like I said, I didn't have high expectations for it. I like the trailer. I do now. I have expectations for it, which kind of sucks, especially with the Vulture, kind of confirmed to be in it. I'm hoping that that's not the biggest surprise. That they showed all their cards in the first trailer.
Mhm.
So I am excited about it. I'm gonna get excited about it. I'm gonna watch it. Morbius is a really really weird fringe guy, character, villain type, so for them to be pushing them, there has to be more at play. I mean, I've heard about Dracula, coming into it. I've heard about, obviously the Blade stuff. Maybe we're going to see some sort of Blade in it with the sharing between Marvel and Sony. So there, I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there. There's also some weird stuff along with the trailer, man. You saw the poster on there for
Yeah, murderer.
Spider-Man. Huh?
It says murderer on it.
Yeah, but did you see where that Spider-Man was from?
Yeah, that's the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
No, it's a PlayStation 4 Spider-Man.
Or the PlayStation. I thought it looked like the Tobey Maguire with the black webbing.
No, it's a PlayStation 4 Spider-Man on that poster. So where does the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man fit into that poster, into that world? So
We're gonna see.
there's just a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on with it, dude. But it did get me excited where I previously was not. And I don't usually like trailers. Don't usually sway me as much as this trailer has swayed me, just because the tone of it is a lot like Venom, and Venom was a fun movie. When we talked about that in the past, where it wasn't the greatest, but it's still a fun movie. So this movie to me feels like maybe they learned from that movie. And I also think that they might have, like you said, gotten some input from Feige with this is how we would do it, and by putting Vulture in or what have you. So I just think that there's more collaboration going on between them
Yeah.
now that Vulture's been confirmed into this movie.
Yeah, I'm excited about this movie. I like Jared Leto as an actor, and also thank God that Morbius doesn't have any tattoos. Um, I think this is probably a much better role for Jared Leto.
He doesn't have any tattoos that we know of yet. I mean,
Yeah,
it could be, bites or fangs on him. I don't know. Bite me, bite me on there somewhere.
Instead of ha ha ha, it just says hits because I guess vampires kind of
Yeah, or a little like garlic with the little X through it or something. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. But I actually think this role is probably suited for Jared Leto a lot more than the Joker is. I think he took the Joker a little bit too weird.
I mean, he was. It's a hard card that he was dealt, dude. You got, Heath Ledger out there, and you have to try to differentiate yourself. You have, what's his name? What's Nicholson? What's his first name? Jack Nicholson out there too. So you got to differentiate yourself, and you can't. I mean, you still gotta. You can't do that.
I know.
So what are you left with? You're left with, hipster Joker guy with tattoos. I don't know.
You're left with 6ix9ine.
Yeah, Tekashi 6ix9ine Joker.
Yeah. So, but now he gets to be the first Morbius. So good for him.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited for this. I think it's gonna be good. I've liked even though I like the Sony Spider-Mans ever since they've started with Marvel. I like Spider-Man Far From Home. I like Homecoming. I like Venom, even though people don't like it. I think it's a fun movie. So yeah, I think this is gonna be just another thing. And just a little quick pointer, Sony. When Marvel sends you the first offer, just don't automatically walk away from the fucking table.
Yeah.
Everyone knows when you're negotiating, when you're like, hey, how much do you want to get paid? You throw out a crazy number that they're gonna say no, because then they're just gonna go underneath that just a little bit.
Just a little bit, man.
When they say I want 75%, you go, we'll go 50. And you're like, all right, we'll go 50.
We'll do it. We'll do that way. You say face, nobody loses.
Disney knows that that's what they wanted in the first place, but they made you believe that it was your idea. That's how negotiating goes. You go in there, you go, how much you want to get paid? I want to get paid 30. We're gonna give you 25. That's fine with me. That kind of stuff. Just don't walk away from the table the minute they send you the offer. Jesus Christ, like that was the problem.
Hey, you know what you said too, though? That was big time. You said you like Spider-Man, Homecoming, and Far From Home. Yeah. Well, they made sure to put it on this trailer that from the producers of Spider-Man and from the producer of Spider-Man Far From Home. So I feel like they're having to do it because because it's Morbius. Because it's Morbius, and like, who the hell is Morbius?
Morbius, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're probably right. Everyone probably thought.
But I mean, I don't fault them for it. In other words, like, they had to do it. But in the same sense too, like, they should be taking their keys a lot off of Guardians of the Galaxy, because Guardians of the Galaxy were fringe, like super fringe comic book characters that nobody knew about. And especially the new team with Rocket Raccoon and Groot. So they should kind of mirror what Marvel did with Guardians of the Galaxy. To kind of get, even though it's different content, like obviously Guardians of the Galaxy is a lot more lighter, funny, and Morbius is a lot darker, more I don't know, to do with different types of themes and tone, but still they can use the marketing and to get a little known character out into the masses. Because as far as a fanboy and comic book lover that I am, I've known who Morbius is for a long time, and he's one of my, like, I wouldn't say like he's probably top 10 favorite Spider-Man villains, maybe. Oh man, I don't know. Spider-Man has so many, dude.
He has a great villains catalog. His catalog is up there with Batman's.
The only thing for me though is because I love vampires and werewolves and zombies. Like, I just love that stuff. So that's why they've always been high on my list. He's always been high on my list. But not to everybody. That's what I'm saying. Like, not everybody knows who he is, so they have to figure out a way to kind of get it out there that he's part of the Spider-Man universe and use Spider-Man's name to push him. And I hope they do it justice. I trust Jared Leto. You said Jared Leto's a great actor. He's also a great musician, so he's a great overall.
He's a talented man.
Yeah, he's very talented. So I trust him, so we'll see where he goes, and I hope he can put on a great performance and be the first Morbius, like you said, and be the only Morbius. You know.
All right, you heard it from Jesus, guys. Jared Leto's gonna win an Oscar for this role. All right, guys, we are out of here. Thank you for
At
joining
least one, if not two. You know.
At least one. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for Armbars and Suplexes this week. We will get back. We will be back next week, same time, same night, Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Same Morbius time, same Morbius place.
That's right. And make sure you share this video with your friends, your family. Also, don't forget about the Patreon, guys. Get in there, subscribe. We have so much stuff coming that we want to do, but we need your help doing it. So get in there and help us subscribe.
Also, real quick, you guys that are on here now will get to be the first ones to know that I have a special worker working on our thumbnails for the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So we should have some of those coming soon.
Definitely. So, guys, do that, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out. Make sure you catch us here at these spots right here. Alec Miller 0423 at the Real Jesus over there. JEZUS. Let's go. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
AMF.